Hello. How is everybody? Hey Mel, how you doing, babe?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Let's see who we got in here and say hi to people while we wait for Brittany. Hi Shamita. Hi Kay Brace. Hello Jane Doe. Carolina Moon, Will B, Amanda. Kay Brace. Good to see you guys. I'm so glad everybody made it. Tony, hey. Butterfly Kisses, what up? Hi Dynamite. I see Mallory. Hi Corinne. Hi Diana. Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody. Edward. Hey, yes, I've been watching the Fuji sentencing, and yeah, they had a few victim impact statements today, but they were not like the actual. I don't know how to put this. They were, and this is the way that the prosecutor and the judge described them. They were members of the community. So there was the cheer coach, the teacher, and yeah, it was sad. And so tomorrow, I think, is going to be like her family. Hey Tara Lee, how you doing? Hey Red Eye Obsolete, good to see you. Let's see, I don't want to be Kim M2. Crime Curious, hello. Hey, you guys, speaking of Crime Curious, I haven't made the thumbnail yet, but tomorrow at 7 Eastern, Crime Curious and I are going to talk about Leticia Stauch's new psychiatrist. Very, very interesting stuff, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys and to get Crime Curious's thoughts. In the meantime, if you want to be up to snuff on what we're talking about, which psychiatrist we're going to be talking about, she is featured in a documentary called Crazy, Not Insane, and it is streaming on HBO Max. And don't worry if you don't have HBO Max, they be giving a free trial all the time. So just sign up for the free trial. Hey, Vet, good to see you. Hey, Carla. Let's see, Laura, hi. Good to see you. Mama Stone, hello. Purple People Eater, can't even talk. And apropos, for the struggle is real but to be below you because the struggle is real for your girl over here. Can't even talk. Hey, Jessica, True Crime, good to see you. True Crime Crazy, welcome. Aries, Pure, good to see everybody. Blue, Heron Digital Art, hello. Pepper, hello. B Crumbs, hey. Claire, hello. I don't think I missed anybody. Amelia Sparkles, hi. Criminality, hello. Good to see everybody. I'm so glad everybody's in here. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Does it look like I missed anybody? Rose Petal, hello. Nonstop Mom, hi. Glowbug, oh, I got to keep going. I got a lot of scrolling apparently. Hello, I'm so glad everybody's here. Before we really get started, we got to hear a word from our sponsors. We have two now.
Ooh.
Two.
Okay.
You ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the first one.
And Kai, when you're on Jen Lou's channel, what do you do with the like button?
Smash, smash, smash! Yeah.
Love that.
And number two.
No malicious.
So
Every
while you're
time.
smashing, don't be malicious about it, okay?
Right.
All right. So tonight I have some videos for us to watch. They're interviews, they're all audio, so no video on them, but I put the link for the channel in the description. It's a deep dive true crime. We have so many. We have Brian, who is Sarah's ex-husband. We have two residents of the apartment complex, specifically the person who shared a wall with Sarah and Jorge's townhome. And he had some very interesting things to say. Jorge's younger brother and the apartment manager, the complex manager where they lived. Oh, thank you, Glowbug. Welcome to the Kookaloo. So glad to have you. Welcome. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. I don't know if we should just go ahead and start and Brittany will
Yeah.
be along. Yeah, let's
Yep.
just start. We'll just
Yep.
start. Let me
We were talking right beforehand, and she was just getting the boys settled, and she's been
bless
having
her.
a little bit more pain in her foot today. So
Oh no, she's probably been walking on it too much.
actually, she took a really long nap today, but I just told her you need to sleep longer.
Yes, for reals.
You need to let her body heal.
She
So.
does. She does.
Mm-hmm. She'll be here though. She said I'll be there soon. Tell Jen I'll be there soon. And I said,
Okay.
she knows.
I know. I'm used to, look, she's got kids and I know how that is. I
Mm-hmm.
remember those days and you got to do what you got to sometimes it be taking a minute. All right. So let me share the screen for everybody. And I'm like forever grateful to Deep Dive True Crime because, and I want you guys all to go over there and I'm going to, I can't put it like this. I'm going to put this video link, but obviously it will take you to, their channel. Please go over there and subscribe and give them, I already forgot the name of their freaking channel. What is it? Deep Dive True Crime. Oh my gosh.
Deep Dive True Crime. Yep.
All right.
I just subscribed. So
yeah, go over there and give them a sub, you guys, because these are important interviews. Like we've heard everything we can hear from Sarah Boone. Like she ain't fixing to say anything,
right,
big or changing or anything. So it is what it is. So we need to definitely, and also you guys, I don't think I have a mod in the chat. Oh, yes, I do. Shamita, are you here? Hi, Melissa. Good to see you. Shamita, if you're here, can you do me a big, big favor? Can you drop Crime Curious's link in the chat? Oh, crap. You know what else I forgot to do? I need to update my Nightbot because Nadie, the fabulous, fabulous Nadie, who makes the wonderful music melts, the wax melts, she gave me to the channel a personal link with a code to get a discount, and I need to update Nightbot, and she did all of that for me, and I totally forgot to update the Nightbot. There's Britt. Just in time.
Did I make it?
You made it. Yeah. We haven't even started yet. We're
Yay.
just about to. We got a ton of videos to go through tonight.
Yes.
We're going to listen to, first is Brian, which, as you guys know, is Sarah's ex-husband, and he has some interesting stuff to say, but because we have so many to get through, and I don't want to, keep you guys too late, we're going to listen to them at 1.25. I know y'all can handle it. All right.
We're used. We love the 1.25.
You have to do it like that. Like it's a lot, All right. So here we go.
Today's date is February 24th, 2020. The time now is approximately 15:25 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I am currently located in my unmarked agency vehicle in front of 4748 France Lane, apartment number 3 in Winter Park, Florida. Also in the car with me is my partner,
Scott Lowen.
And your name, sir?
Brian Boone, 75.
Okay. So Brian, to my understanding, you were called over here. So can you just take me back to this morning and your involvement with Sarah, which is your ex-wife?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. We've been divorced about a year and a half.
Okay.
I started calling her probably 10:30 or so. It's her day to pick up the kid, but it doesn't always happen. 1 or 2 days a week, maybe she gets him.
Out of the 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And what do you, like every other day you're supposed to?
Well, we're supposed to. She's Monday, Tuesday, I'm Wednesday, Thursday, and then we alternate Friday through Sunday. Is how it's supposed to. I was actually my lawyer back a couple weeks ago because I was looking to get it changed because she can never stick to it. There's always some reason why. So it's general that I start calling her around to find out if she's actually going to get him, even though yesterday she told me she would. So I started calling her about 10:30. Never got any answer until.
And there you have it, the first red flag. So although Sarah talks frequently about her son, and it's listen, I'm sure she does love him, but whatever's going on in 2020 when this is occurring is keeping her from putting him first, and that's just facts. I'm not even judging, but it is what it is, and that's out of his mouth, not mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, it's, I don't know. I feel like I will say this based on this interview and the things that he says. I feel like when she was in the interrogation and she was like, I need to call Brian. I need to let him know that to tell Lucas mama won't be coming home. Right. Like, I feel like she was using her son in that moment to guilt trip the cops. I didn't, it was very disingenuous, you know, and look, the deal is with Sarah, with her charges, she's not likely to get life without the possibility of parole. I don't even think that's an option for her. It's second degree. So like, she needs to let this be a lesson, change her, you know, turn it around, and make her son a priority.
Yeah, I agree.
Period. Thank you, Shamita.
So I finally got a hold of her at 12:49.
And did she call you or you call her?
No, I called her. I called her at 11:25. I did that twice. I always call twice because generally she's asleep or whatever. And then I called her 2 more times at 12:21, and then I called her again at 12:49, and that's when she answered.
Okay.
Freaking out, saying that George was dead, and could I please come over? So I told her, you need to call the police. And went and got my dog in his crate and everything, and started heading over here. She called me again at 12:54 asking if I was going to be coming over, if I'd left yet. I told her I had already left. I was going to be there in a couple minutes. So I got here, knocked on the door, walked in just right in the front entrance area, told her once again, you need to call the police.
Was she on the phone with anyone when
Not
you
yet.
saw her?
Not yet.
Okay.
She was shaking and she was trying to get herself something to drink because she was just like freaking out. So that's when she got on the phone and called, and I said, I'm going outside because I don't really want to be in here right now. So I came outside and I sat in my car until people showed up, and it's kind of where we've gone from there. So
so you called her about 5 or 6 times before she answered.
Yeah, which completely
normal to you. The rotation real quick. So Monday, Tuesday, she'll have them. Wednesday, Thursday, you'll have them, and then you rotate each weekend.
Yeah, well,
like it's every other weekend.
How it's supposed to work. Generally, it's 1 or 2 times, maybe a week. I think she had him last Tuesday was the last time he was actually over here.
And spent the night.
Crazy.
Yes.
Okay.
It's probably another week before that.
What's your son's name?
Lucas. Lukas.
L-U-K. And Boone.
Yeah.
You think he stayed here last Tuesday?
Yes. I'm pretty sure it was last Tuesday.
Was
Isn't this sad?
This is exactly what
so
my
you technically have him more than she does. Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, that's why.
Go ahead, Matt.
So even though that's how it's
This is exactly what my custody schedule was when I was growing up.
I think that's a pretty standard custody, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it depends on like where people live, but I was Monday, Tuesdays at my dad's, Wednesday, Thursdays at my mom's, and then every other weekend.
Wow. I think but I mean, if you fight for that split time and then you just don't even bother, I don't understand. I don't understand
supposed to be.
it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'll never understand that.
It's a not a good day. George is in a bad mood or whatever else reason. I think sometimes just she wants to stay up and drink and can't really do that. She's got to wake up and take him to school the next day.
Right.
Any number of different reasons. So.
Okay. How long have you known Sarah?
Since, let's see here, I was probably 23 or so when we met.
Oh.
Something like that.
So it's like
You were
20
23?
years.
Yeah, so probably, 20 years.
There you go.
Yeah.
We dated for quite a while. And then got married, whatever it was, 12, 13 years ago, something like, well, I guess 12, 13 years ago before the divorce. I guess like 14, 15 ago. Like,
How YouTube has changed dated to did it. Way to go,
What can you tell me about
YouTube.
her?
I don't, she's generally not, she can get a bit violent when she drinks. not to this kind of extent.
Right,
I
yeah.
don't know what happened exactly.
Right. No, I'm just looking for.
But that was part of it. The alcohol has gotten worse and worse and worse over the years. That's one of the main reasons why I divorced her. I just couldn't deal with it. I mean, it got to the point where, I mean, on weekdays she'd go out, and I guess the George person is one of the people she had met, because I separated at one point, went over to my parents' house to live for a few months, and I guess she met him over at the pool place or something like that. But I had come back and we were in therapy trying to work it out, and I mean, on a weeknight when he's got school the next day, I've got work the next day. I mean, she was out till 3 o'clock in the morning when the bar closes, and she'd bring people back over on the back porch. I mean, one time some random person walked in my house and started screaming for Sarah at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when we're trying to sleep. I mean, I just couldn't get over it.
So did you still live here?
No. I bought her out of our house.
Okay.
I was going to just sell it and move because I kind of want to go back to College Park, which is where I'm from. But I thought it would be maybe easier for Lucas if I just bought her out and kept that house. So we had a little bit of continuancy, kind of.
Understandable.
So that's what I ended up doing. And then she moved right down the street here. So.
And how long would you say the alcoholism has been a part of her life?
I mean, it's always been a part of her life. It seemed to have gotten worse.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that, and he's not going to be the only person that tells this story. So despite what Sarah is saying in the interrogation room, she drinks all the time. And where's Truth Teller? We got to mark it down because I said on Allie's live that that she and Jorge were hooking up while she was still with Brian. And what did he just say?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to get a good general idea here. Me and you, we had the Zanny discussion privately.
Yes.
So here's my question.
Okay.
Are we talking every night? About 7, 8 o'clock, time to, break up in the bottles type of drinking?
Every night.
Or are we talking 10 o'clock in the morning, go get mama's wine cooler out of the refrigerator?
I think it depends on who you talk to.
Okay. That's just where I'm trying to figure out.
Honestly, it's okay. So when we get to hey, Modine, when we get to the next, hey, Quinny, get to the next interrogation. And the rest of them are really short. His is the longest one. He says that they were his impression. This is the neighbor, the one that shares the wall. He said that his impression were that both of them, hey Anita, were the type of people that needed alcohol to function, sun up to sundown. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There we have it. Because I know that there is that, and I think it should be mentioned that there's a difference between the two, in my opinion. No one's better than the other. Don't get me wrong, but just to get an idea of how bad off she really was.
Right. And I think that it sounds to me from what Brian is saying here that once they were divorced and he had primary, I know that he doesn't have actual primary custody of Lucas, that they have actually really joint custody, but he's the one that is the primary caregiver. I mean, based on what he's saying. Right. And I think that the evidence weighs that out just because they do have her phone and he did start calling her repeatedly starting at about 10 o'clock, which I think you have to be, let's be honest. Okay. If everything was going the way that it should be, why would Brian be blowing up her phone call at blowing up her phone at 10 o'clock in the morning to see if she was going to go get her son? I can tell you right now, no one's ever had to blow my phone up to see if I was going to get any of my kids.
No,
it was just a given. It was just a given.
Yeah.
So, I think that speaks volumes right there.
It really does. It does. Mm-hmm. I just want to say too, just from my personal experience, from what I'm seeing so far, I'm surprised she didn't go for this one. Go after this guy because he's very chatty. And I'm sure she doesn't like that at all.
I think that I think he got out as it's right before it got real bad, because I think, she had a lot more I hate using this word, but to her mind, this isn't me thinking this way, this is her, we're talking about how she thinks. She had a lot more freedom. He had their son all the time. He was the one picking him up from school, taking him to school, so she was kind of able to do whatever it was that she wanted to do. I think
and he probably didn't rattle that too much either.
Right. And he's not a drinker. I think the problem is that Jorge was a drinker. And I think the two of them were just toxic together.
I think more or less kind of since we had Lucas. I think a lot of it was the fact that she kind of, I guess, maybe felt trapped or something.
Okay.
That, before that, whenever she wanted, you're outside having a drink. Oh, I want to go play pool. You go over across the street, you play pool for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's not happening anymore when she got a kid.
Right.
So.
How old's your son?
He is 9. So, but she started just getting really angry when she drank a lot. She said last night she fell asleep. There were plenty of times where she just basically passed out from drinking. So,
so you've witnessed her pass out from drinking?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And when she passes out, is she like out cold?
Oh, she's out.
Like how difficult would it be to like wake her?
Well, if I were to like shake her or something, I could probably wake her up. But me making a phone call or noise probably wouldn't do it.
Okay. And would she be like in the middle of doing something and just like out cold, or would she go to bed?
Yeah, it would be out cold. Yeah, she wouldn't like fall over or anything. It would be more of a lay down.
Yes, Mike, you're in the right place.
Okay.
Welcome to everybody coming in.
What do you know about her and George's relationship?
Now we're getting to the tea.
I think she had him arrested like 5 or 6 times for domestic violence. He's stuck a steak knife in the back of her leg one time.
Okay.
So
he's been arrested. So has he always been the one that gets arrested, or has she ever?
She was also one of the times.
Was she arrested for domestic violence with him too, or just with the new one?
I don't know yet. I only listened like halfway through this because I don't like to. I try not to do it too. Like I like to give an honest reaction. Hearing things, and so like not an honest. It's always honest, but like
raw reaction.
A raw reaction that got me in trouble when I was saying that.
Well, that has become a common trend with us, though, and I actually think I like it. I think it's a good idea.
Way. It's better that way. So I've only listened to it like, So let me just say this. I only know for sure of one incident of domestic violence where Sarah was arrested, and that was in 2018. And that is the time that Jorge says that she was choking him and he had to kick her to get off.
So is his name Jorge or George? Because it's throwing me off.
Well, his name is Jorge. Jorge is Jorge.
No, it's out like
calls him George. It is. It's in English. It would be George.
No, I know. When he was saying George, I knew who he was talking about, but that's just a him thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sarah calls him George too.
Oh.
But his name is Jorge.
Right. Okay.
So I decided, because I kept calling him George too, because Sarah was, which is ridiculous because I can speak some Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Anyway, I'll leave it there. But anyways, I should be calling him by his name. I want to say it so bad. Look, y'all. I saw a little bit of Molly Golightly, and listen, she was yelling and mad at somebody, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she says, "And that fucking pendeja," and I was like shocked. I was taken aback. She said it with the right accent. The right way that you want to say it, like from your gut. And I really thought that for just a second there was going to be like a blood in, blood out moment. I don't know if y'all seen that movie, but I felt like any minute she was going to be like, "I don't want his pork chop. I want his life." Yeah, remember that part? But her for Mel. Yeah, it was bad.
very next day, she's in there trying to get bailed out. So
Right.
I don't know. Basically, they get drunk, they get in a fight, she gets upset, she calls the cops. I mean, granted, I saw lots of black eyes, bruises.
On her?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I mean, there definitely was. Now,
would you see George as much as you would see him or her?
I hardly ever saw him.
You hardly.
I honestly, I didn't like being around either one of them.
Right.
To be honest, and him more so. So,
Why's that?
just I don't know. It's my ex-wife. She made me really mad with everything. How the whole divorce went down, and just, I mean, the way she acted and the way she changed, and the way they both are. I mean, what it's done to Lucas and everything else. I just.
Hey, Nadine, how come you can't
he's
hear,
nobody I
babe?
cared to see. Let me put it that way. I mean, it's not like I really went out of my way to it's just.
When you guys do drop-offs or anything, is it always through
if
the
she
school, or
can't
would you like have to come
me
here and
talking
see
to her
them?
is
Or
not gonna
No,
work.
it's pretty much always during the school.
I was
Sometimes
just
she
gonna let
would
you
come
go with
over or
it.
something like that. Sometimes, but I mean, he would just stay in the car. She would come in. So I mean, I really wouldn't see him.
So it's not like you have like conversations with George. Okay.
No, I mean, maybe a few times when they've drunkenly called me at night because she was telling me she needed to escape because whatever's going on, or she's put him on the phone, but I don't know.
When's like the last incident that you recall of there being like a domestic dispute between her and George?
I mean, she told me like a week ago she had to escape from the house and wanted me to come pick her up. I told her I wasn't going to because I'm just tired of it happening. I mean, it was midnight. I mean, child's trying to sleep, and just honestly, I don't always believe her when she said these things were going on. And
she called you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, apparently she went back inside and slept well. So the fine mood the next day. I guess didn't really remember calling me. So I don't know if it was just she wanted to come over to. I don't know. She keeps on.
Thank you, Tara Lee. Welcome to the Kookaloos. Glad to have you. Thank you so much.
Trying to come over to like hang out or something like that, or she'll come over to spend time with Lucas rather than actually just having him over here like she's supposed to. But she wants to come over there and play with him. And so I'm not sure how real that was. Last time I know there was an actual physical confrontation. It's probably been a little while because this last time George got arrested, I know he was on pre-trial, whatever, something. I don't know. He had a parole officer. He had a domestic violence class. He's like.
So that's the last time. Basically, the last time he was arrested was the last physical altercation that you recall.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, but I think so.
And you have any idea what year or month that may have been?
Back a few months, maybe.
A few months ago.
Yeah, something like that, maybe. I don't think it was incredibly long.
Okay. Like around the holidays of last year, before the holidays.
I think it was probably before the holidays. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
Because oddly enough, there was like a 3-week period where she actually had Lucas all the time she was supposed to because he was in jail for a month or something like that.
Okay.
Because they wouldn't let him out.
Yeah. And you said when she drinks that she can get physically aggressive.
She can. I mean, she did it to me a lot where she'd hit me and stuff like that. I mean, she's tiny. I mean,
What do you mean hit though? Like open hand smack you, or like try to punch you?
Yeah, she'd punch me. I mean, more arms. She many times would use her claws. I mean, I had scratches on my neck at times, on my arms. I mean, things like that where she'd dig with her claws.
He's saying claws.
I never got that
Me
drunk.
too.
I had restraint. I never touched her back. I think George didn't have that restraint, and at times he would hurt her back. So for all I know, all the times he got arrested, she started it. I don't know. I wasn't there, so. But I know she could get violent at times.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. It wasn't anything too, I don't know, too much. I mean, just.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you don't feel like she was a huge threat. I'm assuming, right? No. Yeah. Like you could handle yourself.
Yes.
Did she drink daily?
I think pretty much.
Okay. Do you know like her drink?
This is a good point. Christina says there's a red flag with this guy because he said that he didn't believe her when she would call him about her boyfriend treating her bad. But he just said earlier that she had black eyes before. And I think that is a very good point. And I think that for this gentleman, for her ex-husband, I think that at some point, I think that when the situation becomes so toxic and the person's having them arrested all the time, but then turning around and bailing them out. I feel like at a certain point, the people around that person kind of have to just be like, we've done what we can do, and they just have to sit back and wait. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that M5678, I think what it was, she didn't actually have him over at the house that often.
Right.
She mainly went and visited her son over at her ex-husband's house. So she was basically supervised. So look at her face.
That would be vodka.
Oh,
Or wine,
vodka.
but vodka is the big one.
Mm.
Oh, we lost
And does
Britt.
she
She'll
or
be
George have a
back.
job?
No.
Yeah.
She hasn't worked for over 2 years. Well, I guess you could maybe call when he's got a job. He worked at the Ace Hardware up across the street here,
That's a
Okay.
job.
which is now going out of business.
Okay.
He kind of off and on worked there. When he did work, it was 15, 20 hours a week, something like that. I mean, my alimony and stuff basically pays for where they live. So, I mean, they didn't need a ton, but I mean, she was always calling to borrow money. And but yeah, it's been like 2 years since she got a job. She keeps on telling me she's looking. She's always finding the good opportunities and everything. But
Right.
okay,
Do you want to take it?
it's my dad. Just
Sure,
one second.
yeah.
Hey.
Hey,
Well, just wait.
Natasha.
I'm talking with the detectives right now, and I should be heading out here soon. So I can come get him. Okay? Is John out? Oh, okay. Is he awake? Okay. Good. Okay. Well, I should be up there very soon. Okay. Bye. Sorry.
Okay. We were just on the phone with someone.
Anaphylaxis. I can't
Okay.
believe they were living off of
when you came over
alimony.
here, I know you said
Wow.
that she called
They
you
said
freaking out
Amy-
saying he was dead. Did she give you any more? Like, did you ask why or how?
She told me that they were playing last night or something, and he got in the suitcase, and she fell asleep.
Okay.
That's all she told me. So I don't know anything beyond that.
Okay.
Well, at least she's consistent.
And I
in
really
her
didn't talk to
story.
her much because I came inside. I told her you need to call the police, and then I came back out, and I think she went on the back porch to smoke a cigarette. So I didn't even really talk with her much.
Oh, like she was going outside. Did you see her take a cigarette? And...
Yeah, she was going outside with a. Well, I also know when the cop showed up, she kept on telling them she had a cigarette burning out there, and she needed to go put it out.
Okay.
But they were keeping her away from stuff, I guess.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, she wanted me to come back there with her. I was like, I'm going out here. I don't really want to be in here, so.
Right.
I don't blame you.
And that's when she went to call 911.
Well, she called 911 while I was in there. I was standing right in the foyer area.
Okay.
And I mean, it was apparently a pretty quick conversation, and that's when she started to go that way, and I just told her I'm going out front. So.
Okay.
Hold the phone.
Okay. So they were playing, and she went.
All right, hold the phone.
What?
It wasn't a quick conversation. She was on the phone with 911 for 9 minutes, over 9 minutes, like 9.5 minutes. So who wants to bet that Miss Boone was on the back porch smoking a cigarette when she was counting chest compressions? Who wants to bet? Hey, Seth. Who wants to bet? Who'll take that bet? I think that's exactly what she was doing.
Nope.
Boone, Boone, Boone. Look at her face. I can't get past this face.
I know.
Upstairs.
Oh!
And went to bed. After
She just told me she went to sleep.
Or she went to sleep. Okay. You don't know where.
I don't know where.
You didn't ask more questions.
I didn't ask more questions. I leave that to you guys.
Yeah.
You know what her face looks like? Her face looks like that SpongeBob episode when they're making fun of Texas, and Patrick says, "Can we say Texas or no people from Texas are dumb?" And then I can't remember what SpongeBob said to her, but she starts chasing after him, and he goes, "Ah, Sandy!" like that. That's a face she's making. Ah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Hey, I'll let you know when I'm done talking to these guys, okay? Hello? That's okay. All right. Never mind. Okay, bye. I'll call you when I'm leaving.
here? What happened here?
Wow, I didn't realize they played music.
Oh, this is when he was like
There you go.
3 years old. It was a little plastic thing I had in the backyard.
Did you ever buy him?
I wasn't ready for that.
I bought one for over here that Sarah said for Lucas and George to like play with or something. That was like a year ago or something. Maybe.
I told you, get on the
It was a
Petco
really bad,
list. What you waiting
I think
for?
it's like a junior size thingy. I don't know. It's something that I look like kind of for his height or something, I think.
All right.
Would you mind if I took a picture of your call log to show?
Sure.
No, Lolo, that one.
All the
You just want to
texts?
see hers?
That one when she's hibernating is whenever SpongeBob and Patrick are making. She's asleep and she's talking about Dirty Dan and Pinhead Larry. But this is when she wants to go to
He
Texas.
turns into something that looks like a bear.
Yes. Yeah. Can we?
I'm not gonna lie, I almost
Texas is
started singing the Texas song.
I wanna go home.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hey, she kind of looks like
So it's
Cindy
starting
a
from
little, too.
today. I know.
Yeah.
She does. She does.
Yes.
Texted her at all today?
Not today. I don't think I did today at all.
Hey Sharon, good to see you.
That was last night. She was drunkenly texting me.
Last night?
Yeah.
What time?
Oh.
That was 11 o'clock at night. I think that.
Last night was Sunday. Was it Sunday?
Oh, that's Saturday. Never mind.
Saturday.
That was
so
Saturday
she was.
night when I was watching the
Okay.
baseball game.
Okay.
Because Sunday at
yesterday
11
was
o'clock was
that.
suitcase time.
When she said her account was in the negative, so I transferred her a little bit of money to get her out of the negative.
She sent you. Oh, that was morning. Okay, so she thanked you at 11:56 that morning.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What's the
Wow.
last thank you? What time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just a few
Yeah, and
times.
then that
No,
one
he's at
she's
school,
12:01.
Pepper.
Okay, so afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the calls. Do you need like?
I
Yeah,
love
I'm gonna-
SpongeBob.
yeah, I'll
It's
start from
my
the top,
favorite.
where it has her information. Go ahead. You can scroll down.
I don't have any
No,
kids
okay.
that watch SpongeBob anymore, but I be watching.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's at school. He's not waiting in the car. No, babe. He's at school.
Okay. Has Lucas ever told you anything about her, like witnessing anything between her and George?
He's heard arguments and things like that.
She looks like the fish that came
He's not a big
and
fan of staying over
Hold
here,
on.
honestly.
Okay.
I don't blame him.
Just because.
Right now, you know what she looks like? She looks like the fish who was the tester or whatever, the taste tester guy. And he came into the Krusty Krab and he said that SpongeBob didn't give him his 2 pickles.
And they were
And-
stuck under his tongue.
They were stuck
Damn
up under his
good.
tongue.
Yes.
He has glasses though.
Yeah, but this is what her face looks like. Her face looks like that when after that when the fish, when everybody figured out that he was scamming, poor
Right.
SpongeBob got a dirty rep because he's hiding
keeps saying,
pickles.
You forgot
Yeah.
the
Pickles.
Her face is, she's all in the know about everything, but she's trying to fool you that she's not in the know about anything.
Well, that's what I was
Correct.
gonna say is she's making the face like she's surprised, but for some reason you can still read it in her eyes that she's acting.
Correct.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
So funny.
They get in arguments and stuff like that. I don't think they've ever had a physical fight in front of him,
Okay.
but I know there's been arguments he's told me about.
Okay.
There's been
Oh
times
wow,
where
I have to check
think
that out,
things were
Tony. I didn't
starting
know
to get
that.
to that point,
Mhm.
and she has called me to come pick him up
Okay.
and bring him back over to my house. So
Okay.
she's generally pretty good about having me come get him if, which leads to me not having a life because I can't ever do anything.
Right.
So I can't go anywhere because I'm too worried about something happening and me having to be over here quickly.
Yeah.
Aw.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, do you know if she's ever had any issues with drugs in the past?
to my knowledge, she's never really been a drug person. She's big on alcohol, but I don't think she's ever done. I mean, I think she told me like one time, like back before we got divorced, that at
Oh,
I don't know, this
really?
bar
I'll have to check it out, Tony.
thing over there across the street near the Walgreens, whatever it's called.
Okay.
I've never been there, but somebody gave her a little bit of cocaine
Oh,
like 2 years ago or something like that. But I've never known her to do drugs.
What about George?
No clue whatsoever.
Just
She's never
casually
complained to
walking
you?
on the street.
No,
someone
that's not to say these things
handed
don't
her
happen.
that?
Because
okay. So let me explain a little bit about the Floridas. Okay. So in the Floridas, when I very first moved to Florida, I used to live in Dunedin. Okay. And I
Yep.
didn't realize that we got a bus. So I would walk my daughter to school every single day. And it was like, I don't know, a couple of miles, but on the way to where the school was, it's where the Blue Jays train in the spring. So
Right.
like across from the stadium, the little stadium also is about like 5 or 6 bars. Like if I would have been a different kind of person, I could have, I mean, those bars were open at 8:00 in the morning. I could have walked my kid to school and stopped at a bar on the way home. They were open. That's just kind of how Florida is. So, especially, the closer you are to the beach and like the fun towns, do you know what I mean? So it's kind of not like this would never fly in like Texas. Texas is like you have dry counties, you have wet counties, and then it's strict about when you can buy, like what time of day you can buy alcohol. They've been making it tough. Florida is like, oh, you want a drink? Here you go.
try to keep myself out of and away from them in general, but
Right.
Which vehicle is yours?
Hey,
Prius,
truth
right?
teller.
I guess.
yeah.
I was just asking about you. Sorry, I got to pause it really quick. I got to tell you something. So remember how the other day we were talking about how there's an overlap between Brian and Jorge? Well, guess what? When Sarah was living with Brian and they weren't even separated yet, Sarah was hooking up with Jorge. Like I said she was. Just want you to know.
What does that stand for?
That is what I got sent.
Oh,
I know it looks like a vanity thing. No, that's just this last time they I guess sent me a new plate and that's what was on it.
Awesome. So you can make that up wherever you want it to be.
I could.
Tell them it's for racing. You're gonna.
Yeah, I know you're racing.
Yes, racing in my Prius.
I'm not saying you win. I'm just saying you're
Not
right.
really.
Oh, man. Okay. Anything else, Scott? Okay. Is there anything else that you think is important for us to know that we have not asked you about either George or Sarah?
I don't think so.
When I mean, you guys have been separated for what do you say, 5?
We've been divorced about a year and a half. We were separated a good 8 months before that or so.
So
And we'd been separated one other time before that, before we got back together and we're trying to do therapy, which didn't work at all. So
How long has she been living in this apartment?
ever since we got divorced. So
Just a year and a half ago?
no, longer than that then. Because I took over the house. I moved in there and she moved here. Because I told her I was buying her out of the house. So I guess it has been longer than that. I think she just said she renewed, so maybe just past 2 years.
Okay.
That may be right.
I think she said she's been here like 4 years.
she's been with George. I don't remember what she said.
Yeah, she was with George before we were divorced.
Yeah.
I don't remember what she said. See,
and
they already
anytime
know.
that you recall when you guys were together, and she
No
would
way,
be drunk.
Mo. He's paying the alimony. What's wrong with you?
Did she always like resort to getting angry? Like, is she an angry drunk,
Giving her money
or
whenever
would
she
she
needs
like?
Her main problem isn't.
What, Brett?
I said, sounds like he gives her money whenever she needs it.
Yes.
Oh, her account was in the negative, so
I sent her
I
money.
taught her some money. No wonder she
Right.
keeps him around.
Right. She doesn't, she doesn't work because her bills are paid for through alimony. See,
Unbelievable.
Is
it doesn't even have like prime. Oh, I can't.
she can't stop.
Okay.
I mean, she can't
Yeah,
go
I was
out
gonna
and
say
have a glass
real
of
quick.
wine with dinner.
Right.
That's the only thing she
This-
can do.
this-
Is when she
this-
starts
this-
drinking, she'll.
This
Say that
guy,
again,
I'm so
babe.
sorry. I'm going to say this
No,
and then I'm
you're
going to
right.
shut my mouth. But this guy right now, as sad as the situation is, he's like, thank you, God, she's finally going to be off of my shoulders.
Probably.
Like he's,
them
he's
alimony
probably
those alimony checks stop you. I bet you though she's calling him and he's having to put money on her books.
Probably.
But not as whatever he's putting on her books is probably is not as much as alimony. Because where she's at, I mean, so not Winter Park is all right, so she's in a nice, she's by the beach. It's expensive. Florida, just generally speaking, is expensive. If you're on either coast, it's expensive. It's in the middle is expensive too, but not as expensive as by the coast. I can't
continue drinking basically until she out. Yeah.
If she were to be drunk, would she like want to play games with you? Like, did you guys?
Oh, there's a really good period where she is very good, but then she drinks past that and she gets into the angry bits.
Okay. All right. Okay. Can you just raise your right hand for me? Do you promise and swear everything we've talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. This ends the recording 15:52 hours. Today's date is March 1st, 2020. The time now is approximately 16:41 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I am on the phone with, can you state your name, sir?
Brian Boone.
And I have a couple follow-up questions that I wanted to ask Brian Boone in reference to this case. Brian, just give me your date of birth for me.
Fine.
Okay. And do you promise and swear everything we're going to talk about is going to be true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. So we had a conversation about the incident and your involvement a few days ago, earlier this week, I believe on Tuesday. And after looking through Sarah's call logs, I noticed that she called you on...
Hey, guys, I have to let the dog out. But we're just going to keep it right here. I have to let the dog
you're
out.
good.
Okay.
You're good.
That was a joke. Oh my God. Who let the dog out?
Oh, sorry. Who? Me. I did. But it's ugly. Let the dogs out is about ugly chicks, not actual dogs.
Okay, can I just say I just found that out in the last 5 years.
What?
So, I'm just saying, I never knew it was about ugly people, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just found that out.
Yeah. Bless it.
I've known
that
since
I let the dogs out.
School.
But I let the four-legged doggies out. My four-legged friends. I'll be right back. Here we go.
Okay. February 23rd, which would be the Sunday night at around 23:46 hours, that's military time, but in normal time, that's 11:46 hours. Do you recall that phone call?
I do. Well, somewhat. I was asleep when she called.
I couldn't leave because, okay, did y'all hear that? When she called, so she said, what time did she say it was? Let's scooch this back just a scotch. 23:46. So what is that? 11:46? Yeah, because 24 would be midnight. Okay. This was during some of those videos, I think, or at least right after she's calling him. Just so you know.
Normal time, that's 11:46 hours. Do you recall that phone call?
I do. Well, somewhat. I was asleep when she called. So she woke me up. I was half asleep when I was talking to her. She did sound very inebriated.
Okay.
I don't remember what all she said. I'm kind of used to her calling drunk late at night and things like that, so it didn't faze me as anything out of the ordinary. I basically just kind of got her off the phone and told her I'm going back to sleep and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. You said that she sounded inebriated, like she was drunk?
Yeah, I mean, she didn't sound like... It's hard. I was half asleep at the time. I don't think I remember hearing anything bad in the background or anything that would have caused me concern, but I don't really remember it that well.
Okay, but she was under the influence of alcohol based off of your knowledge of just knowing her and knowing when and when she's not under the influence.
Yeah. As soon as I heard her start talking, I almost kind of just zoned out away from it because she says all kinds of nonsense when she does this late at night, and just I was trying to get her off the phone so I could go back to sleep. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm on the phone right now. You can get yourself dried off. Get yourself dried off. Your pajamas are right here, okay? Hold on, Betty. I'm sorry.
It's
I'm sorry.
okay.
Go ahead.
It's okay. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you remember her saying anything specifically about George?
I don't think so. I don't really remember. I really don't remember much of the conversation, honestly.
Okay. I appreciate it. Okay. And the phone conversation lasted for a little over 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken?
May have been, yeah.
Okay. And you said that is kind of normal for her to call you late at night or just kind of whenever she's under the influence and she's kind of just babbling on and you have to try and get her off the phone.
Yeah,
if you don't
it's a thing that happens.
Okay. Okay, so you can't remember anything specific about what she may or may not have said, but she did sound inebriated. Does that sound correct?
Yeah.
And you couldn't hear anything in the background?
Not that.
As far as like
remember,
arguing or
no.
yelling or anything like that, you couldn't hear any of that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you know where she was located? Did she ever say?
I was assuming she was at home.
Okay, but she didn't say.
I mean, she didn't have a lot of money. She didn't really go out anywhere, so I assumed she was at home.
Okay. But you wouldn't know where in the house she may have been?
No.
Okay, she didn't give you that information. Okay.
Not that I remember. It's possible she said something. I don't really remember, though.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you think is important for me to know about that phone conversation?
I don't think so.
Do you guys talk often? Like in a day's time? Like, do you guys talk daily?
More than I would like. Normally, anytime I'm calling her, it's to find out if she's actually going to be picking the child up like she's supposed to.
Right.
Like that next morning with me constantly calling.
Right.
She'll call to talk to Lucas, or sometimes when she's drunk, or she wants me to come pick her up because she's scared of George, or any number of different things.
Okay, you're kind of like her call person, like she.
Yeah. It's gotten very old over the last couple of years, so I've started to just kind of ignore what she's saying and just try to get her gone as soon as possible.
Right.
Because honestly, for a long time, I tried to help her out, give her refuge, get away from him, and she just kept bringing him back, and I eventually just gave up on the situation. So.
Right. Okay. All right. Do you promise and swear everything that we have talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. This ends the recording at 16:47 hours.
Is it weird that I don't like him either, though?
Yeah,
Not
I'm
at
not
all.
really that a big a fan of him. Hold on.
He's extremely chatty and I don't know, there's something off with him too, in my opinion. There's a reason these two were together.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we want to do next? We can do the younger brother, his friend, his neighbor, their neighbor. That one's only 9 minutes. You want to do?
Yeah.
Let's do the neighbor, and then
Okay.
let's do that one.
Okay.
Do you have a live scheduled, Britt, or are you with me?
No.
Or do I have you all the night? Okay.
Nope. You have us
You have
until my
Have you-
bedtime.
we're 1 minute.
That's crazy. Okay.
I know.
Let me share my screen, because this might go a little bit, because this one's only 9 minutes, and then there's a couple that are like 20 minutes.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. All right.
Technically, I'm an hour behind you guys, so.
It's still early for you.
Yeah, but I'm hoping to be to bed by like midnight your time, so.
I'll make sure you're in bed by midnight my time. Promise,
Okay.
promise. All right, here we go.
Today's date is February 27, 2020. The time now is approximately 17:48 hours. This is in reference
Oh, let me
to
put the closed caption
Orange County
on.
case number 20-017904. I'm currently located at 4748 France Lane, apartment France Court. You sure?
That's what I always park up. Yeah, because you can see it on the sign over there on the 4749.
Okay, France Court.
Yeah, it's weird. For some reason, all of the signs are on the opposites, are on the wrong side.
On the wrong, yeah, the further
that's
side.
apartment 8 there, and the sign's right there on that one.
Gotcha. Okay. France Court. Apartment, the Tealwood Parks apartment. When I'm speaking with, can you state your name?
It's Brandon Nuts.
And your date of. Okay. And you reside at this apartment, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just to be fair, I don't know all the signs here where I am and on this side of Florida are on the right side of the road, but I'll say this. I should say the correct. But maybe the reason they're on the wrong side is because there was a hurricane and they just didn't put them back right. I don't know.
Do you think that would have to be something that they would do?
I mean, I've seen the way that a hurricane will do a sign, like a stop sign, a street sign. Yeah. So it's
wouldn't that have to be one of the first things that they have to do, because then technically can't people do illegal things because the sign's not where it's supposed to be?
Probably.
Like near me, there's a turn over in like our shopping complex over here, and it has a little baby stop sign. And it's like the size of your hand, and
that seems like an accident waiting to happen.
Well, and that's the thing, though. I've had people that I've been driving with. I always stop because I follow the law. But there's a handful of people that I will be in the car with, and they're like, "Well, if it's not full size, you don't have to stop."
Maybe you only have to do a little stop.
Yeah,
not a full stop.
Like yield. The baby stop signs are for yield.
They're not rules. They're like guidelines.
I'm gonna have to take a picture because it looks ridiculous.
It's like if they're a baby stop sign, it's a suggestion.
Yes, but that's the thing. It's on the pole that's like the same size as a regular stop sign. Like,
oh my gosh! Hey,
but it's just literally like the size of my palm and like my fingers stretched out. Like that's how big it is.
Funny.
It's right next to a Taco Bell though too, so maybe that's why it's optional.
Oh, there you go.
And you said that you've been living here since January of 2019?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On Sunday, which would have been... Let's just double check. Sunday was the 23rd. Were you home that day?
I would have come home a little late that evening, but I would have been here around 8, 9 o'clock. I would have gotten in around 8 or 9 o'clock.
PM?
Yes.
Okay. And so your apartment is right next to apartment number 3. Does your apartment share walls with theirs?
My bedroom shares a wall with the lower half of their apartment.
The lower half, okay. Do you recall hearing anything coming from apartment 3 while you were, after you had gotten home?
Around 10:30 or 11 o'clock, there was a very loud crashing sound where I believe, I'm not sure, I haven't been in their apartment with my roommate, but I believe is the location of the staircase.
Okay, so
a little bit above.
A very loud, you said crashing sound?
Yeah, like it sounded like something had been like falling down the stairs. Because it started up high and then it...
I would just like to say that, let me just see what the upload date of this is. 8 months ago. I can honestly say that I did not know that this interview existed until somebody mentioned it in Alex Erickson's chat. And I found this channel, and that's where all these. But I said from the jump that homegirl chunked that man down them stairs.
Right.
In that suitcase.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that made sense for him getting a black eye and for her not to have any like scratches or anything on her. You know, she looked just fine. She didn't look like she'd been in a fight.
Yeah.
And it low.
Okay. And when you heard the loud crashing sound, did you hear any voices? Like, could you make out if you heard a male or female's voice?
I couldn't hear anything, no.
Okay.
It
Is that
is
normal
all
for
for
you to
free,
hear noises
Edward,
coming from
unless
their
you want to
apartment?
send me a tip
Not
or
loud.
join
But not that loud?
Not
memberships.
that loud.
But those
Okay.
aren't required.
All
Otherwise,
literally,
it's
like,
free.
cutting sounds, like
Make sure you
stuff
thumbs
you
up
might
the stream.
slam
That's a
against the
good
wall or
free
something
way to
like that.
support
Okay.
the channel too.
Have you ever heard
Helps a
voices?
lot.
Have you ever been determined?
I've never. I've always kind of like tuned out if I
Okay.
hear voices.
But you heard something?
Yeah.
You kind okay. But you have heard loud noises in the past, but not as loud as you had heard on Sunday night.
No, it's never been that. Like I felt
Hey,
the walls
LFT.
shaking
Okay.
as the sound happened.
And do you know either of them? Like, do you know?
I've had a few brief interactions with them.
Okay.
But I don't.
Like, do you know who lives there? Like, can you
Yes.
describe who lives there for me?
It is.
Nate D,
I guess like
thank you,
I don't
babe.
know, like around 40s. Blonde.
Thank you, sweetheart. Nate D gave 5 memberships. Yay! Congratulations to everybody who got them, and thank you so much, Nate D. That was so sweet of you. I appreciate that. Thanks, babe.
Woman.
Okay.
And a Hispanic gentleman, I believe so. I haven't interacted with him much. I've spoken to her a few times.
You've spoken to her a few times. Okay. Anyone else live there?
I believe they have a little boy.
A small child. Okay.
Hey, Tia.
Okay.
Good to see
When you
you.
have seen them around, how do they appear to you?
They almost always seem either like tired or like tweaked out.
Tweaked
Oh,
out.
tweaked
Okay.
out. Interesting.
That's not what you'd say
The
for alcohol.
conversations you had, or well, the
That's a
interactions you had with the female.
Well, that is a definite new description. Tweaked out. You've
Yeah.
not heard that one.
And that's not usually used for alcohol.
No, it's not.
Suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Female, like, what do you mean interactions?
I remember one
Hey,
night
Quirky.
she slept on the back porch of my apartment for some reason. I
Okay.
don't remember much, but I just remember like looking out the shade and seeing her like laid down.
Okay. Do you recall, like, maybe what month this was?
I couldn't say. It was pretty early when I moved in. I would say the summer of 2019.
Summer of 2019. Okay. Did you wake her or?
No, I just.
Okay. And by sleeping, you guys all have like a cement area, right?
Yes.
Like a back patio, but it's not enclosed.
No.
Was she in a chair on the ground
Like
or
on the ground.
on the ground? Okay.
Oh, dear.
Okay. Any other run-ins with her? Things you've witnessed with her?
I was coming home from class one night. I would not be able to give you a time period on this.
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
remember when it is.
Hey, Emily.
And
Good to see
I
you,
was
babe.
waiting on my roommate to get home because I had left my keys in the apartment.
Mhm.
And I remember she came over and was talking to me for a minute, and it was very visible that like she was talking to me because she didn't want to be in her apartment.
Okay.
I don't know why, like I didn't ask, but
Okay.
it was just very evident that she didn't want to be there.
Do you remember anything she was saying?
No,
Her demeanor?
it was nervous.
Okay.
I don't remember anything we talked about because, in complete honesty, when I was just, it was in one ear and out the other.
Right,
I
yeah,
was
you're just kinda-
responding
Right.
with vague nothing.
Okay.
Oh my, fake nothing. Well,
Did she appear to be
Neighbor?
on anything at that point, or just she seemed
She
nervous?
seemed nervous.
Okay.
She didn't seem like high or anything. She just seemed out of it.
Okay.
I would chalk it up to be more like tired and paranoid or
Okay.
nervous, stuff like that.
Okay. And any other interactions with her?
No, honestly, from the few times I had spoken to her, like anytime I saw her, I kind of just tried to go straight into my apartment.
Right.
There's a few times where I would walk past and she'd say hi or something, and I would just kind of lie and be like, "Oh, I'm only going to be here for like 10 minutes. I just got to change and head back to class or something." Like I tried to avoid.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you ever witness either of them on their back porch patio?
No, I don't walk that direction.
Okay.
I don't have any reason to go like that. But
Right. You guys don't have any like dogs or anything
No,
that you
I
have to
don't have
walk?
any pets.
There you go. Okay. Any interactions with the Hispanic male?
No, not that I can recall.
No. Okay. Okay. Is there anything else that you think is important for me to know about
Nothing.
them and anything you've heard or witnessed between the two of them?
It seemed like an abusive relationship. Just from every time I heard them, every time like I saw the two of them, it seemed rough.
Okay. Okay.
It's one of those things where like,
Now, y'all, I don't want to be this person, but we got 191 people in there, and your girl got 95 likes. We can do better than that. Come on, y'all. This is a good interview, I think, too, because she does make reference to neighbors in her interrogation, and says that they're monsters or something like that. But it's a female, not a male.
he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you think is important for me to know?
Nothing I can think of. No.
Okay. Do you mind raising your right hand for me?
Hey,
Do you
Alma,
promise
good
and
to
swear
see
everything
you,
we've talked
babe.
about has been true and
Welcome,
accurate,
welcome.
best to your knowledge?
Everything I've said is true as far as I can work on.
Yep, perfect. All right, this ends the recording at 17:57 hours.
All right. So that was pretty informative. I've never heard her referred to as a tweaker before. That was new.
Yeah, and it's definitely interesting. It makes you wonder.
Yes, it does. Okay.
Has she ever had a drug test on her?
They keep asking about drugs, right?
Right.
But as far as I know, no. I mean, I don't know any of the results. Okay, so now we're going to watch the next one, which is 20 minutes. This is he lives in the same apartment. These guys are roommates, but he has even more tea to spill because his is 20 minutes long. So we're going to get right over to him. Hold on.
Well, Jen, just to throw it in there too, this is obviously pure speculation. We have no clue. But the whole Xanax conversation we had, if that tweaker thing comes into play, that makes more sense to me too why she would have those if she was taking Xanax.
Yeah, she needed to come down.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. All right, here we go.
Ooh.
This is another good look.
Yeah.
Morning, Sarah.
I'm telling you, she's got some
She's got some what, babe?
Yeah. Cheeks.
Some real doozies of some pictures. Her pictures are doozies.
She's got cheeks.
She does have some cheeks, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Cheeks for days.
I never realized how big her knuckles are. She's got some big knuckles.
All right. This is in reference to case number 20-17904. The date is February 27th, 2020. The time is approximately 17:49 hours. I am located at the Tealwood apartment complex at, what's the building number? 474 Tealwood apartment complex.
The house that I lived in before this one for 2 years, the people across the street were tweakers, and she would come out in her bikini. And I'm telling y'all, this is Florida. It's virtually impossible not to be tan at all. Everybody has a little bit of tan. It's just sunny all the time here. I mean, but she was like, she was so white that her skin was almost translucent. Okay. And it was like some kind of animal print, like a leopard or something like that, or cheetah or something. But what was odd is that she was outside in her bikini in the rain, watering like silk plants, fake plants. I don't know why. I was absolutely fascinated by this process. I sat and watched her far longer than I'd like to admit, because I couldn't figure. I was like, what is she doing? First, I had to be sure that they were silk plants. And once that kept my attention for a while. And then once I realized and confirmed that they were indeed silk plants, then I was like, what the is she doing? And then I was just baffled. So then I just kept staring and I couldn't look. It was a nightmare.
I am talking to the resident of apartment, one of the residents. Sir, can you give me your name, please?
Vincent.
And what's your date of birth, sir?
1999.
All right, is it okay if I call you Vincent?
of course.
Okay, well, like I said, my name's
1999.
Scott Lowen. I'm the
He's a
homicide detective with
kid.
the Sheriff's Office. Please just call me Scott. Obviously, we're out here today
Technically, he's
talking about an incident that occurred with the
22 now.
residents of Apartment 3,
Yeah,
which
I'm
are your
46.
direct
He's a
next-door
kid.
neighbors, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to kind of preface and start out with a couple of different basic questions. How long have you been living in Apartment 3?
Let me turn them up a
The end
little
of
bit
January was a year, so a little about a year and a month.
Year and a month?
and
Okay.
put his
And
closed captions on. He's a
your
little hard
apartment,
to
from what
hear.
I can see, is a single-story apartment. It's not a townhome like your neighbors, correct?
Yes, no, it's a single story. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Ava. Hey, Kimber.
Is your bedroom the one in the back next to the back wall?
Yeah, it's the one where you can like see the kick out from the back patio of their
Okay.
apartment there. Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. So your bedroom is right next to their back patio.
Yes. Yes.
So you get to hear everything that's going on in the back patio, or is it
On the
pretty
back
airtight?
patio and the living room, because their living room at the bottom of their stairs
Yeah.
is right next to where my head lays on my bed.
Okay.
So literally, and it was like an every night thing, with the beat, and it wasn't even just him on her. It was like they were going at it, like at each other,
Oh,
and it was
really?
like it was just really bad and really loud, like every
Was
night.
it? You mean verbally?
No, like physically, yeah. It was like
So what were you hearing?
it was like I don't like it was never like I couldn't physically hear like hitting, you know what I mean? But
Okay.
like I heard like thrown up against the wall, or like I've heard thrown down the stairs a few times. Like it's just
Oh,
like and it's
dear.
like that's a very clear sound, you know what I mean? Like you hear somebody up here get down here very fast, and it's like you just kind of know what happened.
Okay.
And it's like, and the reason that like I've never said anything about it, or I was just kind of minding my own business, is because I literally found out that this happened so often, and they were known by the local police here or whatever, that all the neighbors just stopped calling because the police were tired of it, pretty much. Like not like tired of it, but
No,
it
I
was
know what
like
you mean, though.
it was just like it
no,
was
you're
an
fine.
every week
Oh
thing,
my,
once
do
or
you,
twice a week.
babe?
So it was like I don't know. And then there was the one night I was standing on my back patio, I was smoking a cigarette, and then she just randomly walked over and like started talking to me about how she like knows I can hear stuff, and then she was just like, if you ever hear anything like get really loud or whatever, like just keep quiet about it. Like pretty much like she was like respectfully like try to mind your own, like keep it to yourself. I was like, okay. I was like, whatever.
You do you, I'll do me.
Pretty much. Like,
Yeah,
I go to school down here.
Yeah.
I'm from New Jersey. I don't live in Florida. I'm just here to do my school and live my life. And it's like, so for her to tell me like don't really pay attention, I was just like, all right.
How long ago was that, you think?
A few months, probably like 3.5, 4 months ago, probably. She was just like telling me like just keep quiet, like if you hear
That's
it. Pretty much.
interesting.
And I was just like, whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Did you ever hang
What do you
out
girls think?
the one in the back
Christ.
next to the back wall?
Yeah, it's
pushed
the
the
one
wrong
where
thing.
you can like drinking day.
What do you guys think about that?
But what aspect?
About her going to him, the next door neighbor, and saying pretty much the opposite of my name, this whole "my name is Luca" song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's like, she didn't want anybody to talk about it. Which I guess is not really the opposite. No, Luca just said, don't ask me what it was. She straight went over there and said, don't call anybody. Don't you think that's odd?
Very, very odd, yes.
Because, hey, Dragon Zone, because she's using the battered wife defense, which is interesting. But she's saying don't call the cops. But
Yep. I don't know how that's going to help her. You are claiming that he put you through all of this, but you don't want anybody to get any help or speak out on your behalf or anything. I don't even know how you justify that.
I don't think that I have ever heard of a case of DV where the victim, because to be fair, we can only go by what we know for sure, which is that he has more DV arrests against her than she has against him. I think it's like she's been arrested once, and I think he's been arrested like 3 times. So I don't think that I've ever heard of a case like this where the victim says don't call the cops. Like
right.
does it goes over to a neighbor and says that. Now, I do know that I've seen it many times where a domestic violence victim will say, no, that, you know, I'm very clumsy or whatever, make a ton of excuses. But I've never seen them preemptively go and talk to somebody that may actually give them help. I've never heard of that. It's the first time I've also never heard of anybody putting somebody inside of a suitcase either for 11 hours alive.
Or you're a victim, but you have the freedom to go and tell your neighbors not to talk.
Right. Now, I've heard the other way where the perpetrator tells somebody that is, you know, trying to somebody that usually they do it to somebody who's already, in their opinion or to their mind, is sticking their nose in their business, right? They'll go to that person. But I don't think I've ever heard of like preemptively.
No, me either. Me either. And she's going to have a hard time explaining that one.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it actually sounds more like. She might be the actual, I don't know, aggressor. I don't know. This is why this trial needs to hurry up and come on. And don't be fucking around, Boone, and trying to pull no shenanigans when as it gets closer here, ma'am. As we all need answers.
And
lady.
when I was in the house, I didn't see anything that was like a bottle or anything that they would drink. Yeah.
What, babe?
Oh no, I was just going to say that I want to know how premeditated, if this was premeditated. Were there any forethought? There's just a lot that's going to come from this trial. Like I'm ready for it too.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this too. Well, there's no premeditation in the mind of the law because they charge her with second degree. So that's not premeditated, but it is with like a depraved mind. So it means that basically she may not have known that when she put him in that suitcase initially, that it was going to result in him no longer being alive. But when he was telling her that he couldn't breathe and she was laughing and mocking and whatnot, that is where the depraved mind came in, because at that point it changed to something else. And that's why they gave her second degree instead of first. It's very complicated. All right, here we go.
How old are you?
20.
20. Yes. I'm going to make an assumption here.
Okay.
And I don't mean no disrespect by it, but I'm assuming as a 20-year-old, you have smelled what marijuana smells like when it's burning.
Of course.
Now, have you ever noticed that coming from their place?
No.
They're not smokers.
Definitely not. I don't believe they're like towards like any type of drug. You know what I mean? Like,
good. How are you?
Oh, that's interesting. This is the roommate. He says no drug.
It was just like very visible, like
they were
alcohol.
drinkers.
You know, because like
Absolutely.
I've had like uncles and stuff that have dealt with it, so like I just know what it looks like to be a heavy alcoholic. You know, and it's just like that's what it looked like. That they just had a lot of drinking problems. You know.
I got you. Yeah. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze.
Oh, you're fine. God bless you.
Thank you. Were you home on Sunday by chance?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you hear anything?
Yeah, actually, I did. Yeah, that night. So I was reading the article online about what happened and everything, and like it's just like that story is just like it doesn't match like what we heard. You know what I mean? Like me and my roommate heard. It's just like it wasn't that quiet. Like the whole like it was a joke or whatever, or like whatever, you know. But it was too loud.
Okay.
Like I literally like it. I don't know about the whole like what the suitcase deal was and everything, but it was
let's
just.
do this. Let's back you up.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of get this to flow through.
Okay.
Yes. Slow down, sir.
Sunday.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Sunday, I was up at 4:30. I was going to work. Yeah.
Holy cow! What time did you get home?
I got home at 1:00.
So you were at home at 1.
Yeah.
Did you take a nap or anything, or you just power your way through it?
No. Because I get home and then I have class the next morning on Monday. So like I just stay up so I don't have trouble sleeping at night.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I just power through the day.
So you get home at 1. Was there already noise going on? It was quiet?
Yeah. It was. I didn't truthfully, like,
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything until like, and before like the whole loud noise and everything, I just heard like the normal yelling at the verbal, like yelling and like the whole like arguing, and I hate you, blah, 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 whatever.
That was going to be my next question. What kind of stuff were you hearing?
Yeah, it was just like the normal, like, it sounded like a
it
normal
wasn't
couple.
like a really elevated screaming. It was just
no, it was elevated screaming, but it was like normal, like
their normal.
Yeah, it was like
screaming.
pretty much. Yeah.
Did you hear any crafting? What about painting and puzzles and music? When did that take place?
Yeah,
That
He's
doesn't
so
seem to
freaking nervous.
do what, babe?
The shaking in his voice is driving me crazy. That
Well,
poor
I've sped
guy's
him
so
up, babe.
nervous.
I've sped him up.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just wondering.
Let's see what he sounds like on normal speed. Let's see if he's not shaky on normal. Ready? Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the normal back and forth. So that was basically going on.
Oh no, he's still a little shaky. I see what you mean.
I would say probably a little
Probably
later in the
nervous.
afternoon. A little later in the afternoon.
Probably
there.
freaked out. I would be.
Like 7 o'clock is like, because I feel like that's when like the drinks are settling in and they get a little more violent toward each other.
I think he's talking about their normal, not normal for other people. Their normal. So about 7 o'clock is when it all goes down. Okay.
You know, and it's like,
were they outside or was this all inside? You remember?
It's like truthfully, when I'm home and stuff, like I'm a music producer, so I'm on my laptop a lot in my room. You know, so like. From what I heard in my room, it sounded like they were directly across from me, or like directly across and up. So like either in the rooms there, or like downstairs in the living room in that area right there. So
did you go out on the back to smoke it all that night?
No, actually, I quit smoking. I smoke a vape now, so I stay in my apartment now. It's just a little vape now.
Good for you.
Hey, Mrs.
Oh,
O,
that's a
good
big
to
thing.
see you,
I mean,
Well, yeah, and after the law changed and everything, I can't buy them anymore, so I kind of got forced into it, you know. So it was like, this is just like I needed it to like kind of ease the cigarettes off, but we're working at just trying to go completely off it, you know.
Okay, so but you're in your room. How late did you stay up that night? You think?
I was up pretty late. I stay up pretty late every night, and I just get so lost in my music. I was up probably till like 1 a.m. that night, probably right around there. Yeah, and then like I said, we were just talking about it before, me and my roommate actually.
Bye, Dragon Zone.
That night, right around, it was probably
Thanks for being here.
right around 10:30, 11
Hope you
o'clock.
feel
Maybe, that was
better.
when I heard like it get escalated, you know, like it's like the voices got louder, they were yelling, whatever, and then like it got quiet for a little while, and then I heard this really loud like slamming noise.
Do you know about what time that was?
Right around 11:15. It was about 15 minutes span there, you know, and then
when you say a slamming noise, does it sound like something hit the wall?
Like something like was bouncing down the stairs between the railing and the wall and the stairs.
Oh
like,
dear.
All the way down. Like, you know, and it was clear because like my roommate even said it too, like he heard it up here and it kind of went away from him, and he's the front room here.
Yeah.
And I'm in the back, so it was kind of like it was in the middle of the house and came right at me, and it was literally right next to me. And I've never felt this before, but that night I was explaining to him the next day because he had said he heard the noise, and I was like, dude, I felt the wall shake. Like it was literally like such a powerful hit against the wall, like the wall shook, and I felt it. And that was like something that where I was like, I kind of looked at the wall and I was just like, that was a little a little much. But like I thought, and this whole time I really thought it was like him, you know what I mean, like going off or whatever. But like I said, I don't know what happened inside, but that's just like what I heard, and it sounded like it was just bouncing, you know what I mean, like down the stairs between like the wall and like.
And that was like a quarter after 11, you said?
Yeah, it was like we heard like yelling and stuff around like 10:30, 10:45 ish, and then it got quiet for like 20-30 minutes maybe, and then maybe like between 15 and 30 minutes around there. Yeah,
no,
and it was like then that loud noise, and then I heard like shuffling around, and then just we both heard it at the same time. It just got silent, and I was just like, okay, I guess it's over. You know, I guess that was like the last like. Then they're done. Like I guess they walked away from each other.
You didn't hear anything after that?
After that, not loud enough to where I could hear it through the wall. You know what I mean? I don't know if anything.
Did you hear
happened
muffled
after.
anything, or just nothing? Only dead quiet.
Dead quiet after that. Because like you know the walls aren't thin. They're not thick.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I got it.
I mean,
so they could have been over there talking normally, and you would never know.
Yeah, because like if they're having normal conversation and stuff, no. But like when they're fighting and they're arguing, you can clear. It's like being on the other side of a bedroom wall. You know, because it's apartments and they're so close.
Okay, so now I'm really wondering.
Wondering.
The way that this guy has it is describing it is that they were pretty much from 7-ish on arguing, which matches, which this is interesting. It matches old Sarah Boone, her story of being outside and then going in. right around that time. But this is when I guess they really were into the cups. And the having it be quiet matches the time stamp on the videos
Right.
where she's just taunting him. Now, I shouldn't say just taunting him. What I mean is, not as if the taunting isn't bad, but it's quiet. She isn't screaming or yelling at him. She's not throwing the suitcase around. So it is quiet with the taunting.
Evil person.
Yeah.
I mean, to hear him witness this the whole night, thinking that it was potentially
her,
the boyfriend as the aggressor.
Yes.
And then what must he have felt like finding out the next day what he potentially heard go down those stairs?
Yes.
And to hear, and if it was that loud, Jen, like he said, she had to put some power behind throwing that suitcase down the stairs, because the way that he said it hit the wall, it just shook everything.
Yes. I mean, she shoved it for sure, and gravity took care of the rest.
How can you not say that's not intentional? I just don't.
Oh, listen, okay, so this is the difference. There is no indication that he didn't get into that suitcase willingly for whatever reason. She doesn't have the thing is that when you take it all, let me see how to explain this how I can make this make sense. Because this is just a really messed up story and none of it really makes sense. But I think the reason why she's charged the way that she is because I think that for whatever reason, he was not under duress when he got into that suitcase. He got into that suitcase willingly and he allowed her to zip him up. And the evidence of that is that there is no evidence of a struggle between the two of them on her body. Do I think that they believed that they were doing arts and crafts and puzzles? No. But the fact that he got in that suitcase willingly is what I think takes away from the premeditation element of the first degree murder. I don't think they thought they were going to be able to convince a jury of first degree. I don't think they thought it's absolutely not. Hey, MK, by the way, MK, I saw you in Law and Crime today during the Aiden Fucci sentencing and you had me rolling. I saw your comments. You made me laugh. It wasn't hide and seek.
What time does he go into the suitcase then? Because if they're fighting for all that time, at what point do they chill and decide to put him into a suitcase? Like, I'm confused.
No. I think Mallory, what it is at some point they were playing around enough to where he would have had to have. This is a guess. He would have had to voluntarily went into that suitcase in the beginning of the night at some point on his own free will.
So the entire time that they're fighting, though, that the neighbor's hearing it, is he in the suitcase?
That's what I'm taking him from.
No, I think this is what I think happened. I think that there was some arguing back and forth when they came in. And then it kind of settled down. And then it got worse and worse and worse. This is why I'm telling you guys that freaking suitcase, haha, YouTube, I caught myself. That freaking was upstairs originally. It was never downstairs. That was a lie. That was a lie. Now, it's possible that I don't know. I'm going to have to think about this one a little bit further. Let's hear what else this guy has to say. And this is the first time I'm hearing his all the way through. So I'm probably going to have to listen to it again and like take notes so I can, you know, time it out.
But at 11:15, that's the last thing you heard. And what you heard was a thump
Yeah,
on the stairway.
it was right about that time.
Okay, so 11:15, that's right about the time. That's right before the first video is made.
Around 11:15. Yeah, 11:15ish. Yeah.
Hey,
and you were up till about 1, and you heard nothing else.
Nothing. I heard, like I said, like a little shuffling around down there, and then that was it.
Did you hear anything? Like, could you make out what they're? Hey, have him grab his buddy stuff, his food, please. I feel bad. Your stuff is on the ground, and they're going inside.
Thank you very much.
When they were yelling earlier, could you make out anything, or is it just kind of?
It's kind of just like I was saying. It's like you can like hear the whole like I hate you, like, and then like you clearly. Thank you, bro. You can clearly hear like something like the I hate yous and the clear like cursing at each other and stuff, and you know.
I'm gonna bring my partner over here.
Okay.
I'm gonna introduce her onto the recording. This is Chelsea Kepsel. She's actually the lead investigator on this case. I'm gonna kind of surmise what you told me for her, and if at any point I'm misquoting you, please stop me, okay?
Of course, yeah, sure.
He got up Sunday morning, went to work about 4:30, got home about 1. Things were quiet till probably about 7.
Oh, I'm sure they will be.
Then he hears the
Pepper.
argument. He said it's the normal. He's in his bedroom. He can hear the I hate you, going back and forth, you know, at a pretty much high volume, which is their normal arguing voice. This continues on pretty much throughout the night, but at right about 10:30, you hear a lot of arguing, right? It gets a little bit escalated at that point.
Yeah, it got louder.
And then right around 11:15, they hear this, he hears this banging coming down the stairs. He said hears bang, bang, bang. You can tell it's coming down the stairs because it starts and then it stops right next to him. And when it stopped, he said something just slammed the wall. He said it shook the wall. He said that was the first time he's ever felt like the whole wall shake like that. Mm-hmm. He said after that, it was quiet. He was up
Were there marks found on the wall?
But,
do we know that?
Prior to that, I was just trying to.
I don't know that yet.
Prior to that, was anybody screaming, "I'm going to kill you"? Or
no, I never heard anything like that. Not that night.
Have you heard that in the past?
No, I've never. Not that I can recall. Truthfully, like I can't remember ever hearing like "I'm going to kill you" or like any type of like threat towards each other like that. But like I've also like it's very visible with them sometimes. Right. It used to be, you know, like it'd be very loud arguing, you know, and then the next morning you see her outside and bruises on her face, or him out here with like scratch marks everywhere, bruises everywhere, you know. It's like it's just very visible what was going on and everything. Right. And it was just like I was saying before, I just kind of there was a time
this is what I'm thinking.
Came up to me and she was like, no matter like what you hear, pretty much like just kind of keep quiet about it, you know, respectfully, like mind your own business. And I was just like, okay, you know what I mean, like,
okay,
you know,
you remember when that was?
I would about 3.5, 4 months. So,
okay,
yeah, not too long ago, but not like very, very recent.
Right, right. Okay.
Well, he said the arguing was nightly. He said the reason the front office hasn't heard anything more is because everybody just kind of gave up calling.
Yeah, it was like
Would you complain in the past or no?
No, I never did. It was because like they've been here for so long, and all the other neighbors around here have been here for so long and stuff. And like I was talking to some other people that I met through the school that live in the apartment complex and everything. And they were saying like, you know, people just don't really like them all that much. You know, they were like very. I guess it was just the way they came across, you know, with everybody. You know, it was just like the way they presented themselves. You know, they were always drunk, like I was saying before, like always, like sun up to sun down, type, like all the time. And it was like, I guess people just didn't really want to interact. Yeah, because it's like, you know, I'm sure you guys have interacted with people who are very over the limit, like drunk and stuff, and it gets very annoying after a while, you know. So it's like conversations can't last more than like 2 minutes tops, and it's just like everybody wants to go, you know. But they're always consistent about like being there, and that's why nobody really liked them all that much, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey,
is there
Jennifer,
anything that I haven't asked you about that you think would be good for us to know about this or them?
I don't think so. I think I've pretty much like covered everything like that I thought was, you know, necessary from that night or whatever. Like what I've heard, you know, in the past and everything. That was just like it was just you could tell it was just a very violent relationship that was never gonna do any good. If that makes any sense, you know what I mean? Like it was just a very toxic relationship that had a lot of problems.
Could you do me a favor, raise your right?
I don't think that the prosecution feels that they can disprove that Jorge got into that suitcase of his own volition. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was. Yeah. I don't think they can disprove that.
I don't think so either.
I mean, she would have to have either Like would have to have proof that he was out of it completely, and somehow she managed to double him up inside of there.
I mean, it's
Or,
possible, but there's no way to prove that.
right.
There's no,
Exactly.
and when they ran, he does have alcohol in his system. And that's all that I know. I don't know what the levels of it were or how, all that. We'll find out obviously at trial, but yeah, I mean, you're right, Mo. This is the case itself is not all that complex, but what people are interested in is, for me anyway, it's me, I'm people. I am curious about the jurors' reaction to the videos, okay, because those are going to be played, and then Sarah's going to be, because that's the state's evidence, and then it's going to be the defense's turn at some point, and they're going to use the battered wives defense. So I'm very curious how the jury is, what evidence they have. First of all, the defense does, as far as what they're going to put in, and will the jury be swayed by any of it? That's what I'm curious about. Because see, the battered wives defense is like saying it's what's the term? It's almost like an acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Yes, I did it. Right? And
Yeah.
Sarah is saying she had no idea, I don't know. It's just it's an interesting dichotomy for me, and that is what I'm interested in. For me personally, I think this is a very cut and dry case.
Yeah.
But it's on Deep Dive True Crime. Hold on, I'll put the link. What were you gonna say, Britt? I heard you start to say something, babe. What were you gonna say?
Okay, so here's what bothers me from all of it.
Okay.
Let's just go with the hypotheticals and say that she was battered. This guy was ruthless to her. That still doesn't give you the right to torture him for hours on end.
No, it doesn't.
Once you're out of harm and danger, that's it. You go get help. But she did the opposite. So I'm with you. Like, I'm so curious to see how this plays out and how many different, opinions or thought processes align in that one little juror selection. That's just going to be crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I am very, very, that's what I want to see. Is I want to see what the defense is going to be, because the truth of the matter is, so the battered wives defense is different than a straight self-defense. Okay. Because a straight self-defense is exactly like it sounds. It's you are in imminent danger. It's you or them, and you won out. Right. This is more like, you have been the victim of DV over a substantial period of time, and one day the perpetrator did told the abusee, the person being abused, that it was about to start again, and that this time the victim said no more and attacked the perpetrator before the perpetrator could attack them. That's
Right.
usually what you see in this type of defense. This is so, hey, crazy mama.
But
so this is different.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as soon as he's in the suitcase, he's no longer a threat to her. So
Correct.
At that point, anything that happens after the threat is gone cannot be used.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, I don't understand why her attorney thinks that a battered wives defense is going to be a good idea.
Well,
I mean, maybe they feel, maybe his I don't even, is abusee even a word? Did I just make up a word?
The abused.
The abused. There you go. Thank you.
Yep.
I just feel like this is why it's interesting to me, because he was confined. right? He was no longer a threat to her. For Pete's sake, you couldn't even get out of the dadgum suitcase. He's wadded up in a suitcase. Okay.
Right.
She could have left.
Yep.
She could have called Brian,
Yep.
which now that I'm thinking about it, she did call Brian, but he was not trying to deal with her that
Right.
night. So who knows what she was trying to say to him. And the fact is, what will always give me pause is the fact that she had to be told not once but twice to call the cops, to call 911.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what, you know.
And so wait, you said, did she get anything like her blood or anything taken that night and we just don't know the results, or was it not done?
So I know when she was in the interrogation room, they did a nail scraping, and I know that they took a buccal swab.
Okay.
Or buccal, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But as far as anything else from her in that way, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Exactly, Mo. That's why I want to watch this trial.
So when was she arrested? The same day?
Okay, no. So this happened so it happened Sunday into Monday. Monday afternoon is when she called the police.
Okay.
Tuesday is when she went to the police station to give her statement and she was arrested. So 2 days. Or
Okay.
Tuesday. So it was 2 days after she did what she did, but really only 1 day between.
So then it potentially wouldn't matter because at that point
probably it would have been out of her system. Mm-hmm.
Damn it. I wish we could know, just so we could know if anything was affecting her mindset and her reaction to everything. Because if you go on what the last interview said about them potentially being tweakers and her being on something.
It's an interesting combination. When you mix Xanax and alcohol, you get a different reaction than what people think you would get. Because alcohol is a depressant, and so is Xanax is a benzo, and it controls brain activity. It slows brain activity. That's why if you take too much, you slow your respirations down, yada yada yada, right? But somehow mixing alcohol and Xanax gives you the opposite effect.
Okay.
I don't know why, but outwardly to other people, you're like going, but you're like blacked out physically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
And he was tested. He was. I just don't know. I only know that alcohol was in his system. I don't know what the levels were.
Were you saying like 2 suppressants? So
yeah.
Okay.
Which is weird because, and also it makes a difference to what you're drinking.
Right.
You'd get a different outcome with alcohol or with liquor versus like wine. It's hard to explain.
Okay. Huh.
You, the person, are not really cognizant of what you're doing, but to other people, you are, and usually you're raging. I don't know how to explain it.
All right.
Yeah, it's one of those things you have to see for yourself. Yeah, you have to see somebody like that.
Gotcha.
And then you can understand. Yeah, it's so it's so bizarre because it's like I don't even know how to explain it.
Okay.
All right, he's got him raising his hand. I don't know if there's going to be any more to this.
Put your arm down. The time is approximately 16:08 hours. I'm stopping the recording. What's a good phone number?
18:08 hours. 16.
Sorry.
It's 6:08.
She's always correcting this cop. I love her. Always. All right. So that is the two neighbors. All right.
Okay.
So the next one we should listen to, I think, is the property manager,
Okay.
because I think that makes sense. And then we'll listen. The last two we'll listen to. Geez, the last two that we will listen to are the friend and the brother.
Okay.
People who actually knew, because let's be honest, we've heard from people who sort of know them as a couple,
Mm-hmm.
but we haven't heard anybody who knows Jorge. We don't know anything about Jorge. We know Sarah Boone.
Right.
I mean, look at me calling her by her whole government name. And sometimes I refer to her as Sarah, like we longtime friends, like we went to school.
Yep. Not me.
There we go. Emily's explained it. It intensifies the effect. 2 is like 4. It's called potentation.
Yeah. Potation.
Potentation. They are both central nervous system depressants. We don't know a lot about Sarah's upbringing and family, other than she's had to do everything all by herself all the days, all of her life. Nobody has ever been there for Sarah. She's always having to take care of business.
Oh, she's one of those. Okay.
She's a martyr. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. I just want to say that this is day number 8 for Brittany that she has not smoked, and I am so incredibly proud of her.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, because I'm about to give in. All right. I'll be right back.
You're good.
I'll be right back. Oh, let me add this to the stream.
Date is February 26, 2020. The time was approximately 12:05 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I'm currently located at Tealwood Park Apartments, 4704 Lucier Court, Winter Park, Florida 32792. I am here with my partner, Detective Scott Long, with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. And can you state your name?
Melissa May Sexton.
You are the property manager of this complex, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we had come in here asking about the tenants, Sarah Boone and George Torres. And they have lived here. You gave us a date of February 9th, 2018?
Correct.
Okay. You had told us that Sarah would confide in you about her and George's relationship. Can you tell us further what she would tell you?
Yes. Sarah, shortly after she moved in with George, she came to the office to talk to me. We noticed bruises and stuff on her, and she asked me if she could talk to me privately and asked how she would be able to get George off of the lease. Is there any way to do that? Which prompted, deeper conversation. She proceeded to let me know and was showing me a lot of bruises and marks. There were handprints, scratches. She at one point had to go to the hospital. Through multiple conversations that we had, it steadily progressed. She had a very large gash at one point in her shin. She had to go to the hospital and get that taken care of. I'm not exactly sure what it was from, but I think it had to do when they got into a fight outside and something got broke. I think it was one of their wine glasses or something. But, she came to me at one point asking, what do I do? Like, how can I get rid of him? I've never dealt with this type of situation. I just counseled her as she continued to come to me and explained to her that, she had to make a decision if she was going to stay with him or not be with him. If she, was going to try to work things out, they needed to seek out therapy, help, something. It wasn't too long after that last conversation that I found out the police had come and George was arrested. I don't remember about how long it was in between time, but there was another incident after that where they both got arrested, all for domestic. The complaints throughout their whole term, roughly about 20 to 30 noise complaints, fighting, arguing, banging on doors, loud music. It was just always something pertaining to their lifestyle. I do know that I have seen both of them intoxicated as early as 9 o'clock in the morning, and I mean staggering, falling down, intoxicated, both of them. There was a noise complaint that I had received about some fighting one day that was going on, and Sarah was actually wandering around the property very drunk, barefoot, not properly dressed, I'll say it like that, sitting on the side of her building. over by the retention pond. When I was told about that is when I approached Sarah, sat down, talked to her. I even had also separately went and talked to George and told them that once they had sobered up, I needed to have a meeting with them. The following business day, because this was a Friday, I do remember that. I went to see them Monday, roughly about 12 o'clock. They were sober. They apparently had some epiphany, that they were going to straighten themselves up and start acting right. And they did very good for, well, basically until now. I haven't gotten any complaints since May of the past year, But up until that point, the complaints were consistent, monthly, always.
Would you ever speak with George by himself? Like, did he ever confide in you about their relationship?
The one time where, like I was just saying, that when I talked to her, she asked me to talk to him. But she's like, please, but the fear got in him. Fear got in him. I'm a very stern property manager. I don't tolerate a lot of crap.
Right.
And she knew that. And she seemed scared of him at the time. So I said, sure, no problem. Just stay here. I will go talk to him. I went over, sat down, talked to George. I talked to him for about 30 minutes altogether. And, George had explained to me that she was actually the aggressive one. And the reason she ended up with marks is, I'll say my perception of what he was trying to explain is that she's very hands-on, in the face, dramatized and talking and explaining or fussing or whatever they might have been doing.
Right.
And I believe that because Jean, my assistant, doesn't even like to deal with her, would avoid her like a plague because she was always drunk and she's very hands-on. There was one day, as a matter of fact, it was that same day that I talked to George by himself. She kept grabbing me by the arms to the point that I told her, I said, touch me one more time, we're going to have a problem. I'm either going to contact the police or whatever we need to do, but you can't keep grabbing on me. I had asked her several times to quit touching me. And because of that, she would do the same thing to Jean, and Jean didn't like it.
Right.
So, that's what he was explaining to me, is she was always the touchy one, the aggressive one, not that she was hitting him, but she would be like in his face, or she might, push him, or, little things like that. And she would block him from coming out of the room or whatnot, and he would take her and move her. You know what I mean? And just, that's the way he had explained it to me.
Right.
She has told me, even literally to Monday, I have been told by her several occasions that he has drug her around by the hair of her head. I've been, told about by neighbors.
This is the apartment manager, the complex manager that's talking, Emily. And I have to say that this kind of tracks what he's saying about her being hands-on, because in the interrogation, you can see that she's very demonstrative. She was waving her hands around a lot. She was pointing. Honestly, she did look like she was either directing traffic, landing planes, or conducting a band. I don't know which, because it was different things at different times. But she's very demonstrative. And the picture of him in the white tank top is him, and that's when he looks healthy.
Yeah.
To me. But yeah.
The way that the property manager is talking is literally like she's talking about what she had for dinner. She's like, oh yeah, dragging her around by her hair. But she's literally like, the way she's talking about it is just because it's happening so often that it's like not a thing.
Right. That they're desensitized to it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
crazy.
It is crazy. But what can people really do? I mean, let's think about this. The cops get called, they show up, they take one or both people, depending on the situation. And then she goes, so in the situation, in the instances where it's him being taken, she goes and gets him, out of jail, which is very common. And I'm not victim blaming at all, because she can be both. She can be a victim and an aggressor. It's not always cut and dry. And I think that, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a sad situation. They would sound like they were incredibly toxic, but other than the only other thing, I was just going to say this, all things serious. The only other thing that this apartment manager could have done would have been to evict both of them.
Right.
And I mean, I what a mess.
I'm sorry, I don't have it anymore, but at one point, a tenant actually sent us a video clip via text of them two fighting and beating on each other out in the backyard. There was another complaint incident about a ladder being propped up to the wall. that George was using to climb over the wall to try to get back into his apartment, sneaking in and out. There was another night, sorry, I forgot to tell you about this too. I got a call for one of my vacants in building 24, 4724, which is not the building. There was a tent set up on my vacant back porch. And it's apparently where George was sleeping for a couple of nights because she had him out of the house. I have another tenant here who may or may not speak to you, I'm not sure. For that reason, I don't want to give you her name just yet, but I'll talk to her. But George and her fighting that different evening had actually wandered into her home. He was so drunk and had no idea where he was. And when she came home, luckily her kids were not there because she's a single mother with 3 kids. George was actually upstairs in her house hollering and looking for Sarah, thinking he was in his apartment. So we've had some incidences with them in that aspect, but nothing has ever been so bad that, I didn't feel that we couldn't resolve the problem. And like I said, we haven't had any issues since May of last year.
I'm sorry that happened, Nikki.
So we thought, hey, they're doing great. Maybe they fix the problems. I mean,
Has she come to you since May of any issues?
No,
Okay.
not one time.
But then again, basically they were told you're going to be evicted if there are.
Yes.
So it's kind of like tighten up or get out.
Yeah, it was put up or shut up. I was over it.
Yeah.
If they continued, I was putting them out. So
She does not sound like you, Teresa. Stop it.
not one. George was a little bit darker skinned.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Would you see George as often as you saw Sarah? It sounds like Sarah came to you a lot more than
We would always see Sarah. As far as the only time I ever really saw George is the time when we actually got George to sign off the
We
lease.
lost Britt.
And he came to me and said,
That's number 2.
can you get back in the house?
Mhm.
She's got all my personal paperwork. He goes, would you please have a conversation with her so that I can get my personal paperwork back from her? He goes, but do you have a set of bolt cutters for my bicycle that's out back? And I said, what's it chained to? And he said, it's actually chained to your AC unit. I said, yeah, no problem. I'll cut the lock. I'll cut the lock for anything attached to my AC unit. It's not supposed to be attached to that.
Right.
So I went out back and actually cut the lock on both of the bike locks because Sarah would not answer the door for me because she knew George was there. Once George was gone, she had actually, because Sarah had my cell phone number, being that I had already went through and just got out of a very abusive relationship, Sarah knew that because, I confided in her and explained that she did feel a lot more comfortable in coming to me. So I told her if she ever needed someone, or it was an emergency, she could reach out to me. And I would do what I could to help her.
Yeah, you can hear it.
But after
The
a while, when she
undertone
just
is
kept
Teresa's
taking it back and
voice.
taking it back, I just told her, I said, you're just gonna have to call the authorities on your own. It's obvious you don't want it to stop. He's not doing anything to get help according to you. Can you just keep dealing with it? I mean, there comes a point where it's just stupidity. But that's the run-ins and incidences that I've had with him. I've never seen a mark on George, and he's never told me that she's hit her at all. But she has told me in front of him that he has hit her and things that he's done, and he was not denying it. He never denied it. So George and her both expressed to me on many occasions that they knew they needed help. But I'm guessing due to their financial situation, not having any work, probably why they didn't do much.
Right.
When you saw them together, who looked to be like more dominant? I mean, did one seem to be more dominant over the other?
George was very confident. He wasn't arrogant or anything. He, for the most part, stayed to himself. Like I said, there are a couple people here that he knew, from, I would say, another life from Philadelphia. And, George was the one I always seen driving the vehicle. George was the one I always seen playing with the child. Never saw Sarah outside playing with her kid, ever.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, most of the time, Lucas, you would find him riding around the property on his bike, unattended. No parents outside, no nothing. Because I had actually had a conversation with Sarah about that. And I said, the kid was a great kid. Don't get me wrong. He never did anything to get in trouble. But it was more my concern for his well-being. When he's all the way riding over here around some of these corners with the dumpsters, these people don't see nobody. And they sure ain't missing no kid on the So I had a conversation with her about that. And we haven't had any really problems. I can say I've only seen Lucas on his bike away from her like that twice. She actually had secluded him to stay in front of the building, which was fine. I just didn't want to there again. But yeah, you didn't see Sarah out at all. The only time I ever saw her, especially after the incident took place with Emmett and his ex-girlfriend, it was more like a confrontation that took place in the office. She made an accusation on Emmett saying that he was trying to forcefully, I don't want to say rape, but he was trying to push himself on her.
On Sarah?
On Sarah. She made that claim.
Some tenant?
Yeah, another tenant that knew George from Philly. And they confronted the two of them. I will say Sarah held her ground when the girl confronted her and asked her and said, don't lie to my face. And Sarah said, yeah, he did. So I was surprised that was, but she's larger than me. So, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well maybe there's some truth to that. But it ended up, just fizzling out. It was no big deal. After that situation took place, we really didn't see Sarah too much. She was pretty intimidated.
All things serious, I think that this apartment manager is going over the entire time that that Sarah's lived there up until now, or up until 2020, and I get the impression that Lucas might have been there in the beginning, but recently not so much. If she were Sarah saw him, she saw him over at Brian's house, and I think that they were going. I think that his lawyer was encouraging him to go back and get the visitation amended because she didn't see him. She didn't pick him up from school when she was supposed to and stuff like that, and he could never trust that she everything would be okay, because he said that Lucas would go over there and then Sarah would call and say, something happened or whatever. And he'd have to come and pick Lucas back up. So I don't think that in the recent times, I don't think it happened very often,
Those two folks are actually a pretty large family that I have living here on site that actually took up 4 units at that time. So the whole family lived here. It's a little intimidating. So after that, we really didn't see a whole lot of them.
But before that, they would hang out periodically.
The other two families, no, they just knew each other from back in the day.
Oh, a couple did.
The kids did.
The kids.
Yes, that's what initially prompted it, and then that accusation was made during that same time.
Okay.
So, and when it comes to the kids on my property, I stay very involved with them. We had some issues with our bus routes and all kinds of stuff, and we had some kid vandalism being done, broken glass bottles. They were pulling glass bottles out the trash, breaking them, thought it was fun. And one kid told on another, the parent got involved. It became a little bit of an issue, so I had to get them to squash it,
Hey, Zachary, good to see you.
Is
there anything else that you think is important for us to know about Sarah or George that we haven't discussed?
No, I don't. Nothing really. Her nickname's Drunk in the Bear.
No, Sharon, no job.
We know they drank from sunup to sundown.
Would she ever, I know she confided in you a lot, would she ever admit that she was an alcoholic to you?
Yeah.
She would?
Yes. I wish I still had my text messages. She would send it to me on text. I know we drink too much and blah, blah, blah. She told me that George one time had enrolled in AA and was getting help. Now, whether that's the truth, I have no idea. A lot of stuff like that I just take with a grain of salt.
Right.
I think she was more concerned about the image that was being put in my head for them, and I think she was just trying to paint a clearer picture.
Right.
Because I will say, it was like a week later, she was drunk. And when we go, inspecting the property and walking around different projects, we do a lot of pressure washing throughout the year. We do that a couple of times. I ride around the back sides of the buildings, checking everything out. We've got a property drainage system back there. You always knew, because you'd ride back there and you'd hear 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, they're drunk, falling down. Like, God, I can't imagine getting drunk like that all the time. Jeez.
Okay. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes.
Promise and swear everything we talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Since our recording 12-20 hours.
All right. So interesting.
Oh,
what?
Brittany dropped again. Right when.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's interesting because when you have it's interesting that Sarah is admitting to almost everyone that to the apartment manager anyway, that she is an alcoholic. Right. In the interrogation, I have to keep my wits about me. But literally everybody around, they called her Drunky the Bear for Pete's sake. That's not, that's a lot. So
yeah, and then it makes me also wonder if she is, like you guys have been saying, mixing something with that too.
Mm-hmm.
How much that's actually going to be able to play a role in this. But I think due to the fact we'll never know that, and I think that will work in her favor in a way, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not going to prove it one way or the other. So she could come out and say, not only was I a battered woman, but to cope with being battered, I needed to drink and do drugs so that I didn't feel the pain. And
That's
I don't
true.
remember anything that happened that night. And something like that could very much not necessarily get her off of the charges, but definitely play a major role in her defense.
Yes. That's why I'm so curious as to what this defense is going to be. Because you have, I mean, you have her drinking sun up to sundown. Even though the apartment manager said she never saw any bruises on George, right? But she also said that Sarah was aggressive.
Right.
And they're all of those people are probably going to be called.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm really curious how this is going to play for the jury, what they're going to be thinking. How, you know? And then we have to think about, these are just the people we know are, you know, then you have, I'm curious as to what, like, I wonder if they will call George's probation officer, since it seemed like Sarah claims that they had a friendship, you know, that they spoke frequently and whatnot, and they had a good relationship or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, we'll see. All right.
Right.
This is George's friend.
Okay. Can I answer
Yeah.
Pepper's question quick?
Absolutely.
So Pepper said, will the jury have sympathy for her if she was blackout drunk? I don't think the sympathy would be because she's blackout drunk, but if she did try to play it as the only way that I could get through the day with him to keep myself sane or safe was to get to a point where she didn't feel anything, that could garner sympathy from someone. I don't think just the fact of her being blackout drunk would cause people to have sympathy for her. But if she plays it as she had to get that way to stop herself from hurting emotionally and physically, that could play in her favor. In my opinion, at least.
This is a good point, too. We're biased because George is the one that ended up dead.
Right. But, I mean, we also would never know if he would go as far as to kill her in that instance, too. So.
That's true.
And we know that she would. So, in a way, it's hard because we are biased, but we're biased with a strong meaning or reason behind it.
Look, at the end of the day, that video, because there's two of them, those are going to be very, very difficult for her to overcome, because most people will look at that video and while they can empathize and sympathize with her being the potential victim of DV, right?
Yep.
They're not going to understand why. Okay, if that were the case, you had him contained. I mean, you can't contain a person more than stuffing him in a suitcase. Let's be honest.
Right.
You had him contained and you didn't leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's two, Pepper. There is one that is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That's the one we've all heard where he's calling to be let out and telling her that she can't breathe. Then there is another one, and it's very short. It's only like 28 seconds. And there isn't really anything to that video other than it is the video time-wise is the second video. And the suitcase is right side up in that video. And in between both videos, there is a still picture taken. So, yeah.
Okay.
26, 2020. The time now is approximately 11:45 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I'm currently located at
4704.
4704 Lucier Court. In Winter Park, Florida, 32792 at the Tealwood Park Apartments Complex in the front office. Also with me is, can you state your name, sir?
Abraham Moretta.
Okay, and your date of birth? So with me is my partner, Detective Scott Lowen with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Okay, Abram, prior to us going on recording, I was informed by Melissa, who's the property manager, that you knew George Torres.
Correct.
And you were explaining that you knew him from Philadelphia when he was smaller.
Yes.
And then now you, I guess,
hang on a second.
reconnected
When I started working here in October.
in October of last year.
So Brittany's not feeling all that great. She's in a little bit of pain, and we're just gonna. She needs the rest anyway. So I'm just glad that she got up, that she came up and was, But I don't want her
Glad
to push
she's
it.
listening to her body now.
Exactly. About time. Bless her little heart.
Yeah, I know. She's definitely getting to the point where she has to listen to her body now, or she knows that it'll give out. So
exactly.
It's better.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad too. I'm glad that she got up here, and I'm glad that she, participated in stuff, but I'm also glad that she got down when she needed to. I'm proud of her, because that usually Brittany would have just hung in there all damn night with me. Bless her little heart.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that she didn't.
Yeah. Okay. So you said that you last saw him, you said it was last Tuesday?
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday. Okay, thank you. So last Thursday was the 20th?
Correct.
Sounds about right? Okay. Now, what can you tell me about George and Sarah's relationship?
They had an off rocky relationship, which was physical on occasions. I'm aware of the fact that George had a probation officer. He was in anger management. And again, they had their good times, their bad times. Sometimes he would instigate the situations. Majority of the times, Sarah Boone instigated the situations. And she ended up with bruises. But that's more of him, like, kind of pushing her off of himself.
Okay. And that's what he told you?
Yes.
Okay.
And she verified with you.
Sarah verified with you?
Yes.
Okay. Did they both drink a lot?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
In excess.
What?
In excess. They didn't drink to drink. They drank to sunrise to sunset, all the time in between.
Okay. Did you ever see them physically fight?
No.
Okay. Have you ever seen them physically argue?
I've seen them argue,
Argue. Okay.
but no physical contact.
Right. Has George confided in you about Sarah? About anything she's, I know you said that they both, sometimes
He notified me. He had told me on a couple of occasions where she called the police on him and had him put out. A couple of times he ended up getting arrested over it.
Yeah, those videos are going to be a hard thing to get over for the jury.
Anger management courses. So, because a couple of weeks ago, he was still working at the hardware store on the corner until they closed.
Right.
And that's where me and him would have more of our conversations than anything else. I'm going there to get stuff. Now it's just me and him, one-on-one.
Right.
She's not there to create this situation.
Okay. And so, just correct me if I'm wrong, you said that sometimes he would instigate it and sometimes she would instigate it?
Yes.
Okay. And he admitted to that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know when, did he confide in you about like their last physical argument or fight?
The last physical fight that they had, she mentioned it to me, Melissa, and Mr. G when she got arrested. When we were all standing outside, and she's like, I want to speak to you. And G walked over to an officer and said, is it okay if she speaks to us? They said we would prefer not, but that is her choice.
Right.
We did not ask her any questions. She had told us that a couple of days ago they had got into a fight where he grabbed her by her hair and drug her down the steps.
Okay.
And that would probably be a day or two before the situation happened.
Before the situation?
This is his.
Okay, so when did you talk? When was that?
She was talking to us outside Monday afternoon.
Oh, Monday. Okay. I thought you said the last time she got arrested, and I'm like,
No, when she got arrested, when everybody was at her door.
when we were investigating.
When you were during your investigation, because you was typing in the car.
Okay.
She was talking to us outside. There was a young officer at the door who heard the conversation.
Okay.
Because he was only 20 feet away.
Okay. So she told you what again? One more time?
They had gotten into a fight. He grabbed her by the hair and dragged her down the steps.
2 days prior?
Probably about 2 days prior to that situation.
So that would be Saturday.
Yeah, over the weekend, yes.
Over the
Whatever
weekend.
took place over the weekend, Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
Then she told us that they were playing hide and seek. He went in the suitcase. She zipped it up, and then she went upstairs and passed out.
Did he ever confide in you, like,
So does she leave out that she pushed
what he
him down the
did?
stairs?
Like, for fun? Besides, like, the
That's
drinking, like, is there other activities that he
Hold
did?
on, I'll
Did
push
he ever
pause.
tell you?
Say that again, babe.
So does she leave out that she pushed him down the stairs, or is that all just speculation at this point? Or has she admitted that to someone, or do they
No.
know that for a fact?
Okay, so this is her story. So her
Okay.
story is that normally the suitcase was at the back of their closet in the master bedroom. But George had decided that they needed to do some pre-spring cleaning. I mean, it's February in Florida. It's always spring. But anyway, I mean, it was nice. But anyway, that he decided he wanted to donate stuff. Okay. And so the suitcase was downstairs. But when, what the neighbors have told the police, plus the autopsy, George had a black eye, a split lip, and bruises. And he had scratches on his back, which Sarah already took responsibility for, but said that it had nothing to do with any act of aggression. I'll let you figure that one out. But she couldn't figure out. She said she did not touch him, and she was adamant about that. And the thing of it is that I find interesting is that technically she's not lying.
Right.
She didn't touch him. If she did what we suspect she did based on what the neighbors said, which is that he was in that suitcase upstairs and she wheeled it over to the top of it and pushed the suitcase over and he tumbled down those stairs, then technically she didn't put hands on him. The stairs are what caused those injuries, although
So
she did the pushing.
She's lying
right?
by omission, potentially.
Correct. Well, more like a loophole lie.
Right. Okay.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a loophole. Like she's
Right.
not, so I mean, she's lying, but she's
Purposely leaving stuff out.
yeah,
that
she left out exactly. Well, I mean, the to me, the fact that she says that the suitcase was already downstairs is a lie.
Yeah.
I do not think that that's what happened at all.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So the suitcase was with him downstairs. He was in it downstairs when they got there, or did she already have taken him out?
Okay, there's a little bit of confusion about this.
Okay.
And I confess, I'm not 100% sure exactly what she did.
Okay.
What I can tell, all I know is what Brian said on the body cam footage initially. He said that he walked in the door, and you know how in apartments, how right in front of the door, there'll be that little area of tile and then there's carpet.
The foyer, yeah.
Yeah.
The foyer
The
area.
entryway. Yeah.
Yep.
So he stood on the tile and he said that he could see legs out of the suitcase.
Oh.
So okay. But Sarah says that not only did she take him, when she came downstairs and realized he was in the suitcase still, she says she took him out and was doing CPR. And then doing CPR again whenever she was on the phone with 911.
Right. Okay.
But it's very, no, I have not, they didn't confront her with that information during the interrogation. They didn't say anything about, it doesn't look like you gave him CPR. Their main bone of contention with her is that the injury, he had other injuries.
Right.
It wasn't like, which would be painful enough, that he was in that suitcase for over, round about 11 or more hours, and he actually died as a result of suffocation, but it's a different kind of suffocation. Basically, he could not, he was confined and constricted and could not breathe adequately, right?
Okay.
So that's their bone of contention, was where did all these other injuries come from? And the fact that I know when they were looking into this case to begin with, they pulled both of their records, and they can see the number of times that 911 has been called, how many times it's been dispatched to the house, what they were dispatched for, and what the end results were, right? So they know that, yes, the 911 operator did tell her to do CPR. I don't believe she was doing CPR at all, but that's her story.
Right. Okay.
So it's complicated as far as the reason it's interesting to me is that when she calls 911, she doesn't say he's telling her to take him out of the suitcase, yada, yada, yada. She doesn't say, I've already taken him out. She says, okay, which I always thought was odd.
Right. So she's saying it like she's physically doing it at that time.
Right. She said that she started doing CPR first when she got down the stairs.
Yeah.
Then she was doing it with 911. But Brian says that when he arrived, he didn't think she even talked to 911 for very long because she was on the back porch smoking a cigarette.
Right. Okay.
So it's, a mess.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm trying to get into this.
They actually used to do a whole lot of arts and crafts inside of the tunnel. And they did a lot of it with her son.
The tunnel?
There wasn't a perfect relationship, but they tried, I guess, in their own way.
Right. Okay. Is there anything else that he would tell you about him and Sarah's relationship that you think is important for us to know?
I think you actually know it all. They just had a very rocky physical relationship. I don't know if.
Okay. Did you ever see marks or bruises on him?
Yes.
Okay. Like what?
Scratches on the neck.
Scratches.
As I said, with her attacking him, he's kind of just
trying to stop
shove her back, but because she's such light skin, as soon as he touched her, instant bruises all across the arms and things of that nature.
Right. Okay. So I don't know if you've noticed or if it's been before, but the door, there's like a bunch of markings on the door. Have you ever noticed that or no?
On which door?
Their door.
Their front door, the very front metal door.
I haven't looked at it.
Okay.
But I know if I was to look at it, I could probably tell you what it was.
Okay. We're just curious if, like, since you had been working here, if you noticed it or saw it.
No, because they had keys. Now, they probably slamming doors back and forth and had an argument. I know of one where her ex-husband showed up. Mm-hmm. But that would probably be around November.
Have you, has he ever talked to you about any damage inside the apartment that he needed help fixing that you couldn't do?
No.
Have you ever really been inside their apartment?
Yes, I have. I did in basic work orders, like change the verticals, patch up.
Have you seen any damage that looks like it was caused by either one of them?
Like I said, just looks like normal wear and tear of a unit.
Well, I noticed on the first floor, there's a half bath there.
Yes.
There's like 2 or 3 patches on that door. Do you know anything about those patches?
No, not the door. I did the patchwork in the ceiling, and that was due to leaking air conditioning. The door would have to have been super recent.
I did hear about that.
Oh, he locked her in, she said.
And you said Sarah has Sarah confined you where Jorge is not there? Or is it like?
The most she ever did was, we're fighting, we're arguing. He's always arguing with his ex-wife over the phone. I just tried not to get in the middle of that.
Did you know his ex-wife, or was that prior?
Oh, that's well after. Because I lived down the street from George.
For how long?
93 to 2005.
So he would have started at, you said 14?
Yeah,
so he would have been into his mid-20s.
Yeah, but it was me and my wife. And trust me, she works for DHS.
Okay.
She's a child service giver. My son is a Philadelphia police officer. Different circles altogether.
That's what I was going to ask. How well did you know him up there?
Oh, like I said, to me, he was just a teenager running around with the other kids. And
see him at the corner store and stuff like that?
Yeah, stuff like that. Well, literally on the block, because I lived here. My brother-in-law across the street was my ex-wife's aunt, and then George.
Okay.
So it was, and then her mother lived across the street. So restaurants, so no matter where you go, everybody sees each other.
Now down here, was it just coincidence you got the job here, walking through and ran into him and went,
yep,
holy cow. Okay.
That's literally what happened. I was like, whoa, real small world.
Do you ever go out and hang out with them, have dinner, go drinking? The only time we've ever seen them is when you're at work, either here on this property
or when I would go to the hardware store. That's it.
Okay. Did you ever stay after and hang out in the apartment with them?
Nope. I don't hang out with residents.
Can you raise your right hand? Do you promise and swear everything we've talked
I
about
confirm.
is true and accurate to
I
the
will
best of your
confirm. I do not swear.
You confirm that everything we've talked about is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge? To send the recording 11:57 hours.
That's
Thank goodness.
He said no.
I
What do
will
you
not
think?
swear.
I will not swear.
Never.
He said no. You think we should call it a night, or you want to do one more?
How long's the next one?
13 minutes and 4 seconds.
We can do that one and then we can end it after that.
Okay.
It's up to you.
I'm good. I'm down for whatever. You know me. But I know
Well,
you're
it's later
trying to
for
get
you
to
than it is
bed.
for me. Well,
yeah,
I
but
still have half an hour till my bedtime.
okay.
So
But
if it's only 13 minutes, then that's good.
All right. You know, oh shit. You know, I don't want to be keeping people up past their bedtime. Sleep is important. You know, you guys would be so proud of me. I am so determined to stream this stout trial for y'all that I am not taking a nap. Normally, and I don't have any reason, I could be taking a nap because all they're doing is the jury selection, but I want to train my body. So my body is, because they're out like what, 2 hours, 3 hours Mountain Time is behind us. So, right, Mal, isn't that the right time? If I'm on East Coast, they're 3 hours behind me, right? Yeah, because we sprung forward, right?
Yeah.
Well, because Arizona doesn't participate.
Right.
So, but they're not in Arizona, so that's not even, that's, I don't even know why I brought that up. But anyway, they be starting court, like, you know, close in a few hours. It's time for me to take a nap. And no,
Right.
I haven't been streaming the jury selection, Lolo, but I am going to stream the trial. So I've been missing my nap time because that's when basically the trial starts. So, yeah. Oh, okay, 2 hours. I guess then only Arizona is 3 hours behind me. Okay, that makes sense because they don't participate. I know. Okay, I got it now. I remember now.
Okay.
I'm currently in my unmarked agency vehicle outside of yard in Orlando, Florida. In the car with me is my partner,
Scott Lower.
And in the front seat is, sir, can you state your name for me?
Juan Torres.
And your birthday? Okay. And you are the brother to George Torres Jr., correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It came to my, your parents had explained to me that.
Okay,
you had a
now I'm very
conversation with
confused.
George,
I'm stopping
a
this
few
right
days
now.
ago,
Let's just break all this all the way down. Okay. criminality. You're 3 hours behind me. But
I'm 1 hour
but you're
behind
Pacific. Well, you're Central.
you. Yep, and T is 2 hours behind me. So yeah.
So what time is it in Colorado?
They're 1 hour behind me. Mountain Standard Time is 1 hour behind me.
Okay. I keep forgetting that there is Eastern,
Yeah.
Central, Mountain, and then Pacific.
Well,
so
and the
they're
thing is,
Mountain
too,
time.
is part of the because I know we were trying to figure this out during the Idaho 4 case, because part of
They have
Idaho
87 different time zones there.
Yeah, they like Idaho itself has a bunch of different time zones.
Well, I'll say this. Florida only has one, except for one part of the panhandle of Florida. And that is, they're on Central Time, but the rest of Florida is on Eastern. Isn't that
Okay.
weird?
That is weird, yes.
So yeah, I never knew that. Okay. So 2 hours. So Mountain Time is 2 hours. But anyway, the bottom line is the trial for them starts at 11 o'clock, my time. Okay. But they're just getting on a roll when it's usually my scheduled nap time, which is 2 p.m. my time. So I have been training my body like a marathoner by abstaining from naps this week so that I can be prepared. Yes. So then this is how much how into this trial and how much I want to stream it for you guys. So yes, I want to watch it with y'all. All right, here we go.
Recall that specific date?
Yes.
This is George's this is Jorge's brother.
On Sunday. So Sunday, we're looking at the calendar together, the 23rd?
The 23rd.
Okay, so February 23rd, you guys had a conversation. Do you recall what time that conversation took place?
7:30. Well, it finished at 7:30.
Do you remember
Oh,
what
I
time it
forgot to
started?
put the.
Do you by any chance still have it in your call log?
I'm concerned for this cop that's coughing all the time. Bless her
Does
little
it
heart.
do it when? So it had to be 7:30 because when
April
you call
10th.
it clocks it. It doesn't do it at the end.
That's
It
right,
starts it.
Shemita.
It
Not
starts
all
it, and then it
heroes
tells you
wear
how long you
capes.
talk for.
So it was 7:30. Then.
Okay. If you do have it in your call log, I'd love to take a
Some
picture
of
of it. If
us
you still
were
have it.
chunkless.
Some over here.
So it'd be Sarah. Okay.
April 10th is when it's supposed to start, Linda.
Do you mind if I take a photo?
No, it's fine.
Okay. And so it says you received an incoming call at 7:30, and you guys spoke for 4 minutes.
Yes. We was talking. I was playing dominoes with my kids and my wife. And at first I wasn't gonna pick it up. Then I picked up.
Okay.
Because they were always fighting and stuff with the alcohol. So he started talking to me. He was calm. So I was like, oh, okay. So I put it on speaker. So my kids are there, like they're joking around with him, and he was joking around with them. And we're talking, and then he's talking to me about when we was kids. And then like a couple minutes after that, that's when I hear in the back start arguing with him. No, I have to call my brother. I have to talk to him. And he's like, no, I'm talking to my brother. It was her phone. So
Thank you,
and
Lolo.
then she starts
I
arguing,
try.
telling him that, no, tell him what you've been doing to me. You choked me, this and that. But he was calm. And he was like, okay, I got to let you go. And then he said, I love you. And then I told him I love you. And basically, that was it.
So she yells in the background, tell him what you've been doing to me.
Yeah.
You've been choking me.
Yeah.
Did you ask him anything about that?
No, because the thing with them, they would fight and they would hit each other. Because there was times he came here and she had hit him with a phone and he had a black eye. So it was like...
Did you witness that?
I didn't get to see it, but
Okay.
he told me himself.
Okay.
So
you guys know that there's domestic between the two.
between them, and I told him, get out of there, get out of there. I would tell him, leave. And what's crazy is that he would leave, come here, and she would call and tell him to come back, and she would come and get him. So she had the car, he didn't have a car.
Right.
So
You said that he sounded calm.
he was calm, relaxed. Like he would, I can tell because my brother's been drinking for a long time. We
Mhm.
try to get him help before.
Right.
And I can tell when he was like really drunk, and he wasn't that drunk that night.
He wasn't.
So when you're describing him as calm, that's an indication that he hadn't been drinking that much.
That he wasn't that drunk. No.
Okay. So when he's been drinking, does he get really excited?
Sometimes he gets excited, and you can tell he like slurs his words, and he like, and I can tell like he gets really emotional, and sometimes starts crying, and
Okay. And none of that happened that
no,
night.
none of that.
Have you ever witnessed them physically fight?
I've seen them because I've been to their house, and she's come out all crazy. I went over with my wife, and they had called me to go over there. She had called me to go over there.
Sarah?
Sarah had.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'll come over. That he wanted to see me, so I went over. And as soon as I get there, she comes out crazy because she had saw some guy peeing around the corner, and she was trying to fight the guy and argue with the guy. And my brother was like, "Yo, calm down, just calm down." And it was like I went to that. That's why I would try to avoid everything. Like I would call, whenever he called me, I talked to him. I tried to talk to him, but it was always like they were always
Did she physically touch George, or was she just getting really upset and
upset. Like she came out upset, but there was I would like. There's a person I can't remember. Somebody seen him because he was on a bike one day, and he told me I can't remember the person it was because he was on a bicycle, and she hit him with the car, and I can't remember who the person was, and he told me.
Okay. Have you ever seen any marks on George?
Yeah, around his neck, eye.
Like what kind of marks?
Like the time she hit him with the phone.
Okay.
He had a black eye, scratches all over his neck.
Would you see Sarah every time you saw George?
Off and on. Like if I would go over there, I would see her with him. And then sometimes if he ever came here, I would see him. Or sometimes when I would go over there, he would just come out and I wouldn't see her.
So you more saw your brother than Sarah?
I think it was equal.
Equal.
Because I've seen her.
She told the cops he fell off of her son's bike
So
and
they
that he
like-
was notorious
bruises
for
and
running
stuff,
into
too.
walls.
They used to beat each other.
Where were her bruises be?
I've seen on her arm, black eyes too.
See, I believe this guy because he's not.
Did George
making-
ever
Hold on, let me push pause.
confide in you about their domestic?
See, this has the ring of truth to it because he's being even about it. He's saying they both whooped up on each other, basically. He's not saying, Sarah was 100. This is his brother, and he is
Right.
no longer living. So you have to wait, not just what they're saying, but obviously that's important. But who's saying it and what, I just think I always appreciate honesty. And I think this guy's being honest.
Problems? Like, did he ever tell you? Is there anything else that he's ever told you about?
This is his
him and
younger
Sarah?
brother, Mrs. O.
Any
George's
arguments,
younger
any
brother.
physical altercations?
No, he didn't really like to talk about it like that. Like everybody knew it.
Right.
Like they used to come here and fight and stuff.
Okay.
And my mom wouldn't like it and tell them to go.
Right.
And I know one day she came. It's been like maybe 2 months. My dad, because she always tried to hug everybody. Everybody didn't want to be hugging like that. And she pushed my dad, and my dad fell.
Yeah.
So
Would they always? Would Sarah always be intoxicated when you saw her?
But now remember, we have to keep this in mind too. Remember on that body cam footage what she said about his family. She said that she was in fear for her life from his family because they were going to blame her and blah 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 blah. Right? And I just don't get that. I can't see him, so obviously. But I think when somebody is being upfront about both parties having flaws, and not just blaming one side, right?
Yeah.
I think that you have to kind of, that bears weighs more with me than what Sarah's lying liar mouth who tells lies ass has been saying. She won't even admit that she's an alcoholic.
Right.
Most of the time.
And what about George?
She won't
There was
even
times
admit that she gets drunk.
He had drank, but he wasn't like drunk. Like he would try to like eat and try to have her eat because they was always drinking so much. So he was like, we need to eat something. But
Did you, like a couple years ago, did you and your brother have any kind of a falling out? Did you guys get into an argument, a fist fight, or anything?
no. See,
Has he fought? Has he gotten into a physical altercation with any of your brothers?
with Farrell, he did, the one that had the long hair.
The curly hair.
Yeah, with him, but it was just.
How severe of a fight was this though?
Nah, brothers.
Did he
Anybody go to the hospital?
No, nothing like that.
Anybody have like bloodied lips, broken noses, anything like that?
Broken eye.
No. Oh, he had with my other brother too, with Mo. George had went to the hospital.
Yes, she did say that. Tony. She can't drink. She can't get drunk.
That happened because, she said they was drunk. They was at my Mo's house. At Moses' house. That's the other one.
Moses.
His name is Moses.
Is it last name Torres?
Torres. He they had got into it because Sarah had came and said that she had George had beat her, and then they got into it. But I wasn't there that day. Moses might know. He can tell you about that.
But George did go to the hospital.
George went. George was in the hospital for that.
Do you remember what injuries he sustained?
Something in his eye sockets.
The nose, maybe.
I think his nose too, but it had something was wrong with his like
orbital.
Yeah, the orbital.
Yeah.
What?
All right. Is there anything else that you think is important for us to know about your brother or Sarah and their relationship? I'm assuming the 4-minute conversation, he was just kind of like, you guys were just talking at first.
At first, just talking. I noticed that he was okay. It wasn't a
yes,
fight.
Yes, Diana, that's what it's called. Positional asphyxiation.
And then that's when Sarah came.
And then
no, you're right.
You let him go, or he let you go.
Because he was like, my niece and nephew there, they can hear you. Like, so I was like, he was like, all right, fine. And then,
how did she sound?
She sounded like crazy, like she always did.
Oh boy.
Like she was always like that, crazy. Like she would just start yelling.
Was she yelling any kind of threats or anything?
No, she was just saying about calling her brother.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you promise and swear everything we've talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
She does excel at everything she does,
This one's
Stacey.
recording
You're right about
13:35
that. All right, you guys, that is that for tonight. Hold on, let me turn this up. Thank you for being up here with me, Mel. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I had a great time. I don't know this case as in depth, so it's really interesting for me to like get to see the different aspects. Like I know the outline of everything, and I know like the players in this case, but I don't know like all these details. So it's very interesting for me because I'm not used to that.
Yeah, I know. I'm used to you just being like, well, this is what happened, and then da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, and I with this case, because I've been watching you guys cover it, with all the other creators cover it, and me and Britt have not covered it like ourselves. We've been watching your guys' coverage. So
Yeah.
for me, I find it very entertaining to be on here and be able to ask the questions because I'm not aware of the answers yet.
You ask good questions, though. You ask
Thank
good
you.
questions. So tomorrow night, I'm going to have Crime Curious on, and we're going
Okay.
to talk about Letitia's psychiatrist. And they have confirmed it. They mentioned it today during jury selection. They did like each side did a 2-minute opening statement.
Ooh,
And then the
okay.
judge asked questions after that. But so that'll be tomorrow night. And then I have the letters that Leticia wrote. So I'm going to do a dramatic reading, but not tomorrow. So tomorrow is 7 Eastern for Crime Curious, and then 9 Eastern for, I'm going to be on Truth Tellers. We're going to do one of the missing 411 cases. We're doing Dennis Miller. No, Dennis. I know his name is Dennis. I can't remember his last name. And then maybe Thursday or something, I'll do the letters.
Okay,
A
yeah.
dramatic reading.
I have been actually talking with someone about the Dior Kuntz case.
Ooh, that's an interesting case too.
I have some people that are close to the case that I've been working with, and that's a big one. It's just taking a lot of time with everything else going on, but it's hard to say I love cases because you never want to love cases, but
No,
that
but
one
you're
I hold
fascinated
very,
by some more.
yeah, I'm very passionate
Yeah.
about the Dior Kunz case, so I'm
Me
excited
too.
to get into that
I'm
one.
very interested in that one. I can't say passionate so much, but interested because I've been following
Yeah.
that one for a long time. And every time the parents give a new interview or there's an
Ugh.
update or something, I watch it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that one's a messed up one. And yes, Lola, they do. So after when they gave the opening statements, the prosecution mentioned Gannon's name repeatedly. So they know. And the majority of the jurors were the thing that they had issue with was the not guilty by reason of insanity. And even though that's not what the judge was asking them about, what mainly he was asking them was, have you seen anything, read anything in the newspaper, the news, social media, et cetera, and do you think that you can put everything you know or you've heard from those various sources aside and only base your verdict on what you hear in the courtroom? And almost none of them actually that raised their hands actually talked about any media. What they talked about was the not guilty by reason of insanity. That they all, I mean, every single one of them that raised their hands, that was their main issue. There were a couple of jurors that had followed this case very closely in the media. And I remember one lady saying that she pretty much had her mind made up, that she did not know if she could erase everything that she'd ever seen or read or heard about this case and base her decision solely on what she heard in the courtroom. I have to say that I haven't seen anything new sunset gazing on the West case. If they knew before that, Lolo, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I just, and yes, there were some with 11-year-old sons. That was another bone of contention that I'm gonna tell you guys. I thought that Alec Murdaugh's jury selection process was going to take much longer than it did. In fact, it only took 3 days.
Yeah.
But I think that with the Stout case, it's going to take considerably longer because this case has had a lot of media attention, and it's about timing. There are tons of cases that get a lot of media attention, and yes, it makes it a little bit more difficult to get a jury seated. But the timing of this one happened to be all the things really started unfolding right as the pandemic hit, right when we were all on lockdown. And so people had the time and the inclination to follow it much, much more closely and even do a little research and looking into things on their own. So this one's going to be a difficult one to seat jurors for. And I am there. The defense gave a little glimpse in their opening statement about what their plan. Now, I can't imagine that they would use that. They would say what they said and then not go with that during the trial. But basically, what they said was that they have a psychiatrist who is going to testify that Leticia Stout was insane at the time of the crime. And they get at the end of the day, and this is what the judge explained to them, they can listen. They're there to listen to it, to everybody who testifies, but they can choose to believe all or part or none of an individual's testimony. So just because that psychiatrist gets up there and says whatever it is that she's going to say, and I don't know what she's going to say, to be honest with you, but it doesn't mean that the jury is bound, has to believe it. And they don't, I need to do a little bit more studying, and if she's pleading not guilty by reason of insanity, usually the burden of proof then would be, then it's a different type of trial, sort of like Dahmer, where they were just trying to determine was he or was he not insane at the time of the crime. But this one doesn't sound like it's going to be like that. It's going to be more because saying that not guilty by reason of insanity is also admitting culpability. It means that you know that you are agreeing that you committed this crime. It's just you were insane at the time, and so rather than being held in a prison, you're going to go to a mental hospital, and it's not like you're going to go to a cushy mental hospital. You're going to go to a state-run mental hospital where they put people who are criminally insane. You know what I mean? It's not going to be a good time. But the thing about the insanity plea, or not guilty by reason of insanity, is it is an incredibly difficult defense to mount. It's very, very, very rarely successful. And one of the things that really, in my mind, if I were a juror, I think that I probably could wipe away everything that I had heard or read or whatever about this case and sit in that courtroom and be unbiased and just listen to what they had to say. But I'll say this, where it gets, the problem for me with the insanity defense is that for her, she did so many things to avoid being caught. And so that's difficult for me to believe. If you are hiding a crime, it means you know what you did was wrong. Otherwise, why hide it? I like a prime example, Andrea Yates. She knows what she did was wrong, but she also didn't try to hide it either. She called 911, or
Right.
I can't remember what the order was. If she called her mother-in-law and the mother-in-law called 911 and had to come over there, or if Andrea also called 911. At any rate, when the police showed up at Andrea Yates' house, she did nothing to try to hide her crime. She said she did it. She told them where the children were, and all of those things. So, it is what it is. But it's getting late for Mal. Mal has 5 minutes before she turns into. It's time for her to go nights. She got to work.
Yes.
So
Thank you so much for having me on, Jen.
You're welcome, babe. You know I adore having you up here. You're welcome anytime. Anytime you want to come up, just ask me and I'll send you the link. You know that.
Okay. Deal.
All right.
Well, thank you again
Okay.
for having me. Bye, guys.
You're welcome. Good night.
Night.
All right, you guys. So that's gonna do it for your girl. I'm gonna let y'all go, and I'll see you tomorrow for a live with Crime Curious over here at 7 Eastern, and then over at Truth Tellers at 9 Eastern. All right. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for supporting me, and welcome to all the new members. I appreciate it. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the chatters. You guys are all just great, and I will see you all tomorrow. All right. You guys have a great rest of your Tuesday night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.